Chapter 558. Absolute Beginning Region, Lecture Building Number 2 Hall. 80 kilometers long, 60 kilometers wide, it was much bigger than a normal city on Earth. However, it was just a place for the undyings to teach. At the back of this hall number 2, there were over 1,000 random seats. Right now, there were a few absolute beginning members that became beams of light and flew 10 kilometers to their seat. So, Luo Feng too appeared before the 1,000 seats, randomly choosing a seat on the left. Look, it's Luo Feng. He's the newbie from the newest genius competition? He looks quite handsome. He hasn't been in the virtual universe company for long and he's already passed the 7th level. He's very strong. We're only at the 8th level, but we're already domain lord level. In the corner were 2 ladies, one with beautiful wings and the other with eyes filled with endless temptation. They weren't shy at all, instead looking passionately in Luo Feng's direction, discussing softly. The other members were discussing too. That's Luo Feng? Right, it's him. This punk is quite vicious. Back when we were universe level, the highest we could reach was the 7th level. That was 3,000 years after we joined the virtual universe company. According to his improvement speed, there's no hope of entering the primal region in this qualification battle. However, in the next one, maybe there'll be hope. As long as he's given a few thousand years, he'll definitely be able to make it into the primal region. 2 sector lords sat in a corner, discussing. Discussions were everywhere. The moment Luo Feng sat down, the entire hall number 2 had close to 100 people here to listen to the lecture. They were all discussing Luo Feng. He became the center of attention. To be able to pass the 7th level in such a short amount of time, even before the first qualification battle, to be able to do this, they were all absolute geniuses. Luo Feng sat there quietly, his ears twitching. He could clearly hear the discussions. I've become a zoo animal. Luo Feng felt helpless within. How do you do, Luo Feng? A rough voice resounded. Luo Feng turned to look. It was a rather ugly-looking man with 6 protrusions on his forehead and black hair on his face. This man sat a few meters away from Luo Feng. He turned and smiled. My name is Suolong, domain lord level. I've heard many talking about you today, however, you're indeed very powerful. Thanks, said Luo Feng. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. According to the population distribution, there were 1,000 sector lords, 100 domain lords and 30 universe levels in the absolute beginning region. Luo Feng and the others had 8 new people, causing the entire absolute beginning region to have 1138 people. However, after the qualification battle, the number of members in the absolute beginning region would return to 1130. From the ratio, one could see that the number of sector lords was the highest. This resulted in the majority of the people in this hall being sector lords, with a small portion being domain lords. Universe levels were pitifully few in number, including Luo Feng. There were only a total of 4 people. This already made Luo Feng shocked, as usually only 2 universe levels would attend these classes. Today, there are 2 more universe level members attending the class. Luo Feng thought. The chances of an absolute beginning mystic dimension member entering the primitive mystic dimension is extremely low. So Long said in a low voice, my friends and I have been chatting. They all think that you have a high chance of entering the primitive mystic realm in a few hundred years. In our absolute beginning mystic realm, it is very rare for one person to enter the primitive mystic realm. Every time something like this happens, it makes me incomparably excited. One step ahead and you'll always be ahead. The earlier you enter the primitive mystic realm, the faster you'll improve. Suo Long seemed to be exclaiming, saying beside him. Luo Feng turned to look at Suo Long. If you work hard, you too have hopes of entering the primitive mystic realm. Haha, don't laugh at me. In the next qualification battles, it'll be good enough if I can stay in the absolute beginning region. Suo Long shook his head, his eyes filled with helplessness. In the next qualification battles, I'll be kicked out of the sky and land region. Then, my position outside will be lowered too. What a headache! Domain Lord level corps members were positions of great authority when they were sent out. According to Luo Feng's explanation, he'd be a governor outside. However, primal, absolute beginning, sky and land members, apocalypse members, their treatment outside was completely different. When the primitive mystic realm members leave, just the guards alone would be an army led by an undying. When the time comes, the position they'd be assigned would match their status. If a primal member was suddenly kicked out of the absolute beginning member, then the official positions would be quickly changed. Even the guards led by the undying would be moved away, replaced by a sector lord. That punk sure is unlucky. When he goes out to be a governor, he'll probably be powerful at first. However, seeing that he'll be kicked out of the sky and land region in the qualification battles, there'll definitely be a change in position and status. Luo Feng laughed within. Simultaneously, he casually chatted with this big body, finding out about some of the things a governor would often encounter. After a while, the undying teacher arrived and began his lesson. Immediately there was complete silence. Even if they wanted to discuss, they had to communicate. They definitely didn't dare disturb the teacher's lesson. There were a total of 4 universe-level members in classroom 2. Of them, one had a face full of silver scales and the other had bronze skin, with a single black horn on his forehead. Ah sure, look, that Luo Feng is pretty serious in class. The silver-scaled man communicated. The black-horned man looked at Luo Feng in the left corner. Moe Lin, and I Nan wants us to find a reason to fight him and test his strength. How do you think we should challenge him? If we run over and cause trouble for him, if he doesn't even bother with us and leaves the virtual universe, we'll be dumbfounded. Relax, I have a plan. The silver-scaled man squinted, like a venomous snake. Let's do this first, it's very ordinary. The black-horned man frowned after listening. Then what else can we do? There's no 100% guarantee of success. The silver-scaled man said. All right, once this lesson ends, we'll head over. The black-horned man nodded. The Emperor-level Undying explained for a long time. Under the intense gazes of the absolute geniuses, he vanished into thin air. Luo Feng closed his eyes to reflect on the many wonders of the lecture before. Only then did he open his eyes. With a glance, he saw 2 men standing before him. One had a face full of silver scales, the other was sturdier, with a single black horn on his forehead. The common point was, these 2 were both universe level. The 2 looked at Luo Feng. You 2 are? Luo Feng sat there, looking at the 2. How do you do, Luo Feng? I'm Moe Lin. The silver-scaled man smiled. Luo Feng, I'm sure. The black-horned man smiled. We're the same as you, universe-level members, only we joined the virtual universe company a little earlier. What business do the 2 of you have? Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Towards the universe-level seniors, Luo Feng didn't have much of a good impression. Because when he chatted with Wuka today, Wuka had told him some things. Even though Wuka didn't specifically mention who they were, there were only a total of 30 universe-level seniors. Anyway, most of them had conflicts with Wuka. We know Luo Feng passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge. We're very impressed. The silver-scaled man's eyes gleamed. I, Moe Lin, love to battle. Hence I wish to challenge you in the arena and have a good spar. I too wish to battle you. The black-horned man looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Battle? If it was for training, one could imitate powerful warriors in the training grounds. And to specially battle someone, it was usually to see who was stronger or weaker, or to understand the opponent's background. Knowing oneself and one's enemy was the only way to win. I'm afraid they've never fought with me before, they don't know my battle style or my trump cards. Even though there are videos of the genius battles back then, I was still very weak back then. Now I'm many times stronger than back then. The videos back then didn't reflect my strength at all, hence they came to challenge me. Luo Feng immediately understood. Sorry, I'm not interested. Luo Feng got up and left. The black-horned man and the silver-scaled man glanced at each other. They could only follow the other method of challenge. Haha, Luo Feng, you're still the number one of this batch of newbies. I didn't expect you to be so cowardly. The silver-scaled man said. You don't even dare to accept our challenge. Looks like none of you newbies have any hope. The black-horned man said. That Wooka is dumb. He's so weak yet he dares to fight us. Luo Feng, you have the strength, yet you don't dare to fight us. This qualification battle, you newbies should just give up. As there was a group of sector lords and domain lords in classroom 2 who were listening to the lecture earlier, they all turned to look with interest. Most of them paid attention to Luo Feng because he was indeed shocking. However, that was because they were of different levels. They were sector lords and domain lords. They didn't have any conflict of interest with Luo Feng at the moment. Naturally they were calm. Those two's provocations are too lacking. They are lacking. If it were me, I wouldn't even bother. Two little clowns. The sector lords and domain lords discussed. Some of the sector lords' voices were especially loud. Immediately the silver-scaled man and the black-horned man's expressions became even uglier. Luo Feng's footsteps suddenly stopped. This made the group of sector lords and domain lords shocked. Was Luo Feng prepared to accept the challenge? Was he that easily provoked? Luo Feng turned to look at the silver-scaled man and the black-horned man. The silver-scaled man and the black-horned man noticed Luo Feng's unfriendly gaze. Wooka is going to fight you? Luo Feng looked at the two. You're talking about that Manka prince? The silver-scaled man sneered. Beside him the black-horned man replied, That's an idiot, fighting us and getting trampled on by us. Congratulations, Luo Feng said. The silver-scaled man and the black-horned man were stunned. Congratulations? I didn't want to fight before because I didn't want to waste time on you. Luo Feng looked at the two. However, now, you've made me very unhappy. I've decided to trample on you once. 2 chapters completed. I need tickets. Do I have tickets? Chapter 559. The silver-scaled man Moe Lin and the black-horned Asher felt a surge of rage within as they heard Luo Feng's words. They were indeed following Ni Nan's instructions to provoke Luo Feng. However, no matter what, they were still the absolute geniuses of the trillions of races in the universe. Otherwise, why would they enter the absolute beginning region? Geniuses were all proud. Wasting time? Fighting them was a waste of time. And this was said by a newbie who hadn't been in the virtual universe company for long. Let's go to the arena. Luo Feng turned and headed out, almost as though he wanted to quickly end the battle. Humph. Moe Lin looked at his back and couldn't help but snort coldly. Too arrogant. Asher squinted. The two of them exchanged glances, and then followed Luo Feng out of room 2. There were still many sector lords and domain lords in classroom 2 who had noticed their conversation. Seeing the situation, their eyes gleamed. Interesting. The newbies are fighting the seniors. However, usually the seniors win with an overwhelming advantage. However, this time, it's hard to say. Comparing Luo Feng against those two, Luo Feng should be stronger. However, if Luo Feng is up against the strongest of the seniors, Luo Fu and the others, it's undoubtedly Luo Fu who's stronger. Let's go and have a look. Who knows, the 5 geniuses of the seniors might make a move too. The group of sector lords and domain lords all formed into groups of 3 to 5 and called their friends as they walked out. The elite genius Luo Feng of this batch of newbies going to battle in the arena, that was an extremely interesting thing. The absolute beginning region, after all, only had so many members. As for the few famous universe level and domain lords, the sector lords naturally knew of them. The absolute beginning region took up a huge amount of space, and built many arenas. Normally, it became the place for the absolute beginning members to spar, battle and even bet. At this moment, there were over 10 people gathered at the edge of one of the arenas, and there were 2 region lords fighting on the arena. One was a tall and robust black-furred ape-man that was an entire 8 m tall, while the other was a cold and bald young man with a cold expression on his bald head. Moreover, there were some very complicated and strange patterns on his bald head. In an instant, over 10,000 images were left in the arena. The black-haired ape-man roared and waved his 10 m-long huge axe. The two's exchange caused the surrounding space to tremble and ripples to shoot in all directions. The ground around the arena was a mess. "This time I've lost," a cold voice rang out. "Ha ha." The rough and deep voice seemed to echo as the black-furred ape-man looked down at the cold, bald youth. "In the last 100 years we've fought 10 times, and you've already lost 7 times. The cold, bald youth closed his eyes, reflecting on the previous battle. The dozen or so people who were watching the battle from the sidelines also began to discuss. Some were preparing to leave, while others were inviting each other to fight. "Hey, look! What's going on there? So many people." These people, including the black-furred ape-man and the bald youth, all saw at least 60 to 70 people bustling over from afar. Luo Feng walked at the front, behind him were Mo Lin and Ashur, and behind them were a large group of sector lords and domain lords. This bustling group was indeed eye-catching. Luo Feng watched as he walked. With a glance, he saw about 10 people at the side of one of the arenas. None of them were universe levels. "Which arena?" said Luo Feng. "You are after all a newbie, you choose." Behind Luo Feng, the silver-scaled youth Mo Lin said coldly. "All right." Luo Feng stomped and became a beam of light, flying to an arena 10 kilometers away. The silver-scaled youth Mo Lin and the black-horned youth Ashur too immediately became 2 beams of light and flew towards that arena. At the same time, the sector lords and domain lords who were preparing to watch the battle, a large group of them either flashed or flew, all landing at the side of the arena. "Let's go take a look." With so many people watching, it's probably not a normal battle. The dozen or so area lords flew over as well, including the black-furred ape-man and the bald youth. Luo Feng and the other 2 landed in the arena. Luo Feng looked at the distant arena. It was mainly sector lords, very few domain lords, and there were actually only 2 universe levels. One was a universe-level old man, the other was the green-haired youth Jiang Mo. Jiang Mo smiled at Luo Feng, simultaneously waving his fist and communicating. "Luo Feng, that group of seniors have always looked down on us newbies. You have to help us take revenge, and teach them a lesson." "Of course I will, and I'll teach them a lesson." Luo Feng communicated and smiled. At this time, 3 silhouettes descended from the sky, landing at the side of the arena to watch the battle. One of them was a youth dressed in a silver-gray armor, another was a black-skinned, thick-lipped man, and the last was a jade-eyed, pointy ears, an enchanting young lady. The 3 gathered together and looked over. The 3 of them are all universe levels. The middle one is one of the 5 great warriors of the seniors, and Nan. Luo Feng swiftly thought of information. Ever since his teacher Tru Yen had reminded him of the universe level 30 seniors, there were 5 great warriors. Luo Feng had gathered some information, of which he specially gathered information on the 5 great warriors. They were Nan, Yu Feng, Kuluo Fu, Go, Sajin, and Fire Dragon. The earliest to pass the Heavenly Bridge's 7th level was Kuluo Fu. He had done it over 2,000 years ago. The last one was Go, who had passed it more than 300 years ago. Mo Lin, teach that punk a lesson. The black-skinned man roared from below. "Ah sure, don't lose to this punk." The enchanting young lady shouted too. And the silver-gray armored youth Nan watched silently from below. "Don't worry. Watch how I teach him a lesson." Mo Lin and Ah Sure stared hard at Luo Feng. They had treated him as a true enemy. Of course it wasn't like they had no chance of winning, as they had passed the Heavenly Bridge's 6th level a long time ago, and were relatively close to the 7th. And strength wasn't just in origin law comprehension. Personal battle awareness, display, mental state, experience, These were the final deciding factors. Moe Lin and Ah Shur were confident that their experience and battle awareness surpassed this Luo Feng before them. Luo Feng, you're too young, your spirit is too strong. We'll make you understand you can't underestimate any opponent. Moe Lin said, the two of us will fight here in the arena, you can pick one of us. I've said before, I don't want to waste time. Luo Feng looked at the two of you can come at me together. Together? Moe Lin and Ah Shur were stunned. The absolute geniuses of the absolute beginning region watching below the arena were in an uproar. Those that could enter the absolute beginning region weren't too far apart in strength. Of the 30 universe-level seniors, 5 of them were at the Heavenly Bridge's 7th level, the other 25 were at the 6th, and the Sky and Land region had 10s of them at the 6th level. What did this mean? It meant that the absolute beginning members were close in strength. It meant that these 25 were all near the top of the geniuses that had passed the 6th level. 1v2? Moe Lin, you two teach him a good lesson. Teach this punk a lesson. The number of people gathered below was increasing, of which the 2 universe-level members that had just flown over roared. This is getting interesting. Even more interesting. In the arena. Moe Lin and Ah Shur exchanged glances and nodded. That was good too. If they had to deal with Luo Feng 1v1, they didn't have much confidence. And now that Luo Feng wanted to fight 1v2, if the two of them teamed up, their chances of winning would be even higher. You asked for it. Moe Lin's silver scales formed folds on his face, looking ferocious. Make your move. Ah Shur roared. In the distance, Luo Feng immediately floated up and floated in mid-air, looking down at the 2 universe-level opponent. How strong he was, Luo Feng was very clear. It was because he was clear that he didn't even put these two in his eyes. The reason he came to this battle was to help his good brother Wooka vent his anger. Babata, record the battle footage and show it to Wooka later. You sure are showy. While communicating mentally with Babata, Luo Feng revealed a smile, following which he controlled the dark golden long rod on his back. Rumble! Immediately countless little golden blades shot out in all directions. Countless golden threads of light made it seem as though a golden sun had appeared behind Luo Feng. A total of close to 6,000 little golden blades seemed to instantly connect with the universe space and gold origin laws. Immediately the 100 kilometers area around the arena changed color. The area was so large that it even covered the area below the arena. Arena? Grass? They all vanished. All that was left was a vast world, with countless blade energies flying about. Nanshin Armaments 6th level. Own world, also known as Blade World. My God! Big trouble. Moe Lin and Ah Shur, these 2 absolute geniuses' expressions changed greatly, their eyes filled with shock. This Luo Feng can actually unleash the Nanshin Armaments 6th level? The spectating large group of sector lords and domain lords were all shocked. This was truly shocking. If one were to say that they were here to watch a show, to see if the newcomer was an absolute genius, then right now they were filled with disbelief and disbelief. Because the Nanshin armament was very hard to train. This was one of the 9 godly weapons. It belonged to the gold and space category, and it was a godly weapon that used the gold origin laws as the main and the space laws as support. And the 9-universe heavenly bridge was designed to test one's comprehension of the space laws. Then, the 7th level of the heavenly bridge tested one's comprehension of the space laws. Luo Feng being able to unleash the 6th level, what did that mean? It meant that not only was his comprehension of the space laws high, his gold origin laws were even higher, and there were many ways to pass the heavenly bridge. If the challenger was a controller, he could choose a controller, hypnotist or fighter, any one of them as his opponent. Choosing hypnotist was easier, because to be able to become a spirit reader controller, most of them had strong soul defenses, hence winning was easier. Choosing the fighter was the easiest. because he could completely maintain his distance and directly control his spirit weapon to destroy the fighter. The fighter could only struggle to increase his speed again and again to think of a way to get close to the opponent. Choosing the controller was the hardest, because the moment he chose the controller, the spirit weapon that appeared would be exactly the same as the challenger's, even his attacks would be exactly the same, using one's strength to attack the opponent's weakness. However, choosing the exact same controller, that was too troublesome. He definitely chose the controller as the guardian. Definitely. Otherwise, to pass the 7th level, he wouldn't need to unleash the Blade World. In the arena, Mo Lin and Ah Shur looked at the vast Blade World around them. Countless Blade energy revolved, the formless world energy pressuring them. They were close to despair. How can it be so strong? And it's the gold and space category's strongest godly weapon? The two were in a mess. In the distance before Luo Feng, the Blade World energy madly gathered, countless blade energy condensed and finally formed a translucent pale golden blade tip. This pale golden blade tip glowed faintly. This was the incomparably condensed Blade World energy condensed to form the strongest blade energy. Its power was unbelievable. Go! Luo Feng roared softly. Writing today was extremely taxing. Up till now, he had only finished 1 chapter, and he was late. Since his condition wasn't good today, he would just finish 1 chapter. He owed everyone 2 chapters. Chapter 560. Even if I lose, I can't lose in such a pathetic manner. Ah sure, fight it out with him. Mo Iron gritted his teeth, the silver scales on his face wrinkling up even more ferociously. A giant silvery white cleaver about 50 centimeters wide and 3 meters long appeared in his hand. The blade was engraved with complex golden runes that faintly flowed with silvery white light. Ashur's eyes were bloodshot too, both hands wielding a crescent moon blade. Kill! Kill! The two moved at the same time. Luo Feng condensed his blade energy. Rumble! Mo Lin fiercely stomped on the ground of the arena, causing the entire arena to shake and crack. Mo Lin himself brought along a sharp whistling sound and a high-pressure shockwave visible to the naked eye as he raised his gigantic silver-white blade and slashed towards Luo Feng. So. The black-horned man, Ah Shur, wielded the crescent blade with both hands and moved like a ghost. In an instant, thousands of phantoms appeared around him, and these phantoms formed an inexplicable formation. Countless cold blade lights lit up the entire arena. In the distance, Luo Feng floated in mid-air, pointing. Qi. An incomparably condensed blade energy in the shape of a translucent golden blade immediately pierced through the air. I'll first kill Mo Lin. Luo Feng looked at the distant Mo Lin, simultaneously stepping on the dark cloud shuttle and retreating with extreme speed. Roar! Mo Lin wielded the huge silver-white blade with both hands. As it moved, the surrounding cold air seemed to freeze space. Simultaneously that huge blade slashed straight at the golden blade energy. He was clear with the blade energy's speed. He couldn't escape at all, the only way was to meet it head-on. Rumble, the golden blade energy was imbued with terrifying force, causing Mo Lin's entire body to retreat fiercely. He took more than 10 steps in the arena, every step creating a deep crater in the arena. Simultaneously his body made cracking sounds, as though his bones were breaking. Qi! Mo Lin spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Gold. Yang and unyielding. It is indeed very strong. Mo Lin stood where he was, staring hard at Luo Feng. His right arm that wielded the blade had already been broken into 9 pieces. Luckily he had dispersed most of the force through his broken right arm, otherwise his injuries would have been worse. In mid-air, Luo Feng, who had become a beam of light, once again condensed an incomparably sharp faint golden blade energy. The tip of the sword was faintly discernible, and the sword Qi tore through the sky. Mo Lin, die. Luo Feng stared coldly at Mo Lin. Bastard! The black-horned man Ah Shur, who had become a specter, and was constantly chasing Luo Feng, roared. However, Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle, and looked coldly at him. Slowly chase. Ah Shun could probably cast 10,000 phantoms when he used phantoms. After all, even under the Blade World's pressure, he was still able to unleash 1,000 images. It was a pity that with the Blade World's pressure, he couldn't catch up to Luo Feng. The sorrow of a martial artist. Unless he was like the Masha clansman's instantaneous speed, it was a pity that Luo Feng, who had completely comprehended the first 36 wonders and had some comprehension of the rainstorm picture, wasn't any weaker than him in terms of movement. This caused him to be unable to catch up to Luo Feng, no matter how hard he tried. Xiao! The pale golden sword Qi streaked across the sky and shot towards Mo Iron. Yeah! Mo Lin roared. However, he felt the pressure from the endless blade world. His every movement was restricted, and he could only unleash 70 to 80% of his strength. Yeah! His left hand grabbed the huge silver-white blade and once again slashed like lightning. However, to hit the blade world energy Luo Feng controlled was extremely difficult. Before, Mo Lin wasn't injured and in his perfect condition, he could hit it with his life on the line. And now that he was wielding it with one hand, it wasn't as effective as his right hand, his left hand, plus his injuries. Xiao! The pale golden blade energy flashed and pierced right through Mo Lin's forehead, causing a hole to appear there, completely piercing through. Almost as though he was pierced by a laser. Ah! Mo Lin stared wide-eyed, after which his body slowly fell. With a rumble, his entire body smashed into the arena rocks, causing the rubble to fall. Mo Lin defeated. Luo Feng. Luo Feng. Well done, kill the other punk. A loud shout suddenly resounded from below the arena. It was the Menka Prince Wuka. Wuka shouted excitedly. Beside him was Rong Jun. It wasn't just the two of them, even Qian Shui, Ai Chen, Lancelot and Ao Pate La had arrived. The absolute beginning universe-level newbies had all arrived. It was because Jiang Mo had informed them. Luo Feng, who was standing on the dark cloud shuttle and flying above the arena, looked down, seeing Wuka, Qian Shui, Rong Jun, Ai Chen, Lancelot and the others. He couldn't help but laugh and shout, "No problem, it's a piece of cake." Yeah, bastard! Behind him, the black-horned Ah Shur, who was chasing time and again, however he couldn't catch up, roared angrily, "Luo Feng, if you have the ability, don't run." In terms of space comprehension, he was very close to Luo Feng. In terms of comprehension of the space origin laws, he was much more than Luo Feng, while Luo Feng was stronger in terms of quality. The two were close, and with Luo Feng's blade world suppressing his opponent, how could Ah Shur catch up to him? What a joke! Don't tell me you want a controller to fight you in close combat. As Luo Feng flew, he looked at the black-horned Ah Shur and pointed, "Go!" The endless blade world energy gathered before Luo Feng, forming a pale golden blade tip. The blade energy was extremely sharp. Xiao! The blade energy broke through the air and shot straight at Ah Shur. Hoo! Ah Shur madly waved the half-moon blade in his hands, his entire being becoming a blur. Xiao! The pale golden blade energy swept past again and again. Luo Feng didn't even want to clash head-on with Ah Shur, purely relying on the speed of the blade energy. Again and again it shot at Ah Shur from different directions, ravaging him. How fast was the pale golden blade energy? Every time Ah Shur felt as though he was dancing on the edge of a blade, it was extremely dangerous. Qi! The blade energy shot from the side straight into one of Ah Shur's ears and out from the other. The inside of his skull was completely minced into paste by the sword Qi that shot out. Ah Shur stared wide-eyed. His entire body still swayed a few kilometers due to the inertia, after which he fell to the ground. Ah Shur defeated. "Haha, we won, haha!" Wuka laughed loudly. "Luo Feng, beautifully done." The handsome Lancelot smiled. Well done. Rongjun, however, waved his fist fiercely, obviously very excited. Qian Shui, Jiang Mo, Ai Chen, and Ao Pate La were all extremely excited too. The 8 of them were the least experienced and the weakest newbies in the absolute beginning region, especially with the qualification battles nearing. Jiang Mo, Qian Shui, Wuka, and the others understood that they were about to be eliminated from the heaven and earth region. Hence they all felt extremely pressured. This battle allowed them to vent their frustrations. It was satisfying. Haha! Luo Feng leapt down and landed beside Wuka and Rongjun. Those 2 punks came to provoke me, so I casually dealt with them. Wuka, they were the ones who dealt with you before, right? Luo Feng smiled. They were. Wuka gritted his teeth. I've long wanted to teach them a lesson, it's just that I wasn't strong enough. Haha, Luo Feng, it's all thanks to you venting for me. Haha, this feels good. While Luo Feng and the other newbies were celebrating, it was a scene of joy. The universe-level seniors had gathered over 10 of them, bastard. We actually lost. The 10 of them all had ugly expressions, because there were over 100 sector lords and domain lords from the absolute beginning region watching this battle. And they lost to a newbie, 2 against 1. This made them feel extremely embarrassed. This Luo Feng is indeed very strong. The silver-armored youth stared at the distant Luo Feng. He's actually able to unleash Blade World. Looks like I'll have to use my trump card to defeat him. However, this move is what I prepared to use against Kuluo Fu. And Ainan, I heard that Mo E Lin and Ashur were taken care of by a newbie? A thick voice resounded. The silver-robed youth turned his head and felt as though a small mountain had appeared behind him. It was a 6-meter-tall woman. She wore black battle armor on her upper body, a black battle skirt, and black battle boots on her lower body. Her exposed arms and neck were crimson red, as though they were made of crimson metal. His face was red and square, and he could be considered handsome. There were 2 curved fiery red horns on his forehead, and a diamond-shaped crystal was embedded between his brows. There was even a dragon tail growing out of his tailbone. This crazy punk has come? The silver-armored youth had a thought, saying solemnly, Yes, Fire Dragon. Mo E Lin and Ashur were indeed taken care of by a newbie. That newbie is Luo Feng, who just passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge. He's extremely arrogant, not even putting us seniors in his eyes. After clashing with Mo E Lin and Ashur, he immediately declared he wanted to go 1 against 2. Who would have thought that he would be able to defeat 2 people by himself and actually succeed? Look, those 8 newbies are so arrogant. The silver-armored youth shook his head, simultaneously looking towards the newbies. Over there. Luo Feng and the others were extremely happy. Wuka roared over, You seniors have trained for a few thousand more years, what are you being arrogant for? 2 against 1 and still lost. Haha. I feel ashamed for you guys. Wuka, what are you being arrogant for? Immediately the group of universe-level seniors raged. Bastard! The dragon tail man that was like a small mountain roared. Rumble! This dragon tail man fiercely became a red beam of light, after which like a meteorite smashed into the arena, causing it to shake. This tall dragon tail man immediately extended his fan-like hand and pointed at Luo Feng below the arena. Luo Feng, come up here, let me teach you a good lesson. Can't you just unleash a blade world? How dare you be so arrogant? His voice rumbled and resounded. Luo Feng, who was laughing and chatting with Rongjun and Wuka below, was stunned. He looked up and his expression changed. It's him? Saw Jin Fire Dragon, one of the pinnacle races of humanity in the universe, the Mother Flame race, one of the 5 great warriors of the absolute beginning universe level. He trained in an extremely expensive technique that was comparable to the time-space scribbles, black hole evolution. 1,500 years ago, he had already passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge. P.S. First chapter here. Chapter 561. as he had long since checked the information of the 30 seniors. He was very familiar with these 5. Universe Level 5 and Ainan, Kaluo Fu, Yufeng, Go, Sa Jin and Fire Dragon. The strongest and hardest to deal with was without a doubt the fighter Kaluo Fu. The most terrifying was the chemist Yufeng. These two were the most terrifying of the 5. Even Luo Feng had to admit that he was far from being a match for those two. Kaluo Fu, brave and valiant. Yufeng walked the chemist path, very rare. However, the moment he had some success, he would become incomparably terrifying. Even Kaluo Fu lost to Yufeng. The other 3, Ainan, Sa Jin and Go, their strengths were all close. Go, even though he was the latest to pass the 7th level, his battle strength was terrifying. Sa Jin and Fire Dragon? Luo Feng looked up at the dragon-tailed man in the arena, frowning. Do I have to spar with him now? His original plan, after passing the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge, he would go and take on the missions one by one to train himself for the next 6 years. Dealing with Mo Lin and Ashur before was just a matter of convenience. Luo Feng had never treated them as opponent. However, Sa Jin and Fire Dragon, that was completely different. In the arena, Sa Jin and Fire Dragon swung their tails, smashing the rocks of the arena, staring below and roaring, Luo Feng, come up! Don't you dare to come up? Go up. Luo Feng, if you have the ability, go up. The universe-level seniors below the arena shouted too. Mo Lin and the rest are weaker than you and you dare to bully them. Meeting Sa Jin, you're too scared to go up? The majority of the spectators below were sector lords. In reality, they were all roaming the dangerous and mysterious regions of the universe, training between life and death. Training time and time again, they were extremely nervous. Occasionally seeing the universe-level juniors spar was very interesting. What's more, today it was the geniuses amongst the geniuses competing. Sa Jin and Luo Feng? Interesting. If they really fight, who do you think will win? The 3 sector lords, who were all dressed in black, discussed amongst themselves. That Sa Jin and Fire Dragon trained in one of the ultimate manuals, Black Hole Evolution. Even though his points can only exchange for the first few manuals, he can definitely unleash his full strength. Beating Luo Feng, no problem. Yes, I also have high hopes for Sa Jin. Haha, we all think the same. I also think Sa Jin will win. Last time I saw him fight with Kaluo Fu. This Sa Jin is indeed from the Flame Mother tribe. His fist technique is really strong. Unless Luo Feng could unleash his blade world to the point where his blade energy was everywhere. Otherwise, we won't win. The sector lords of the absolute beginning secret realm were all at the peak of the 9th level. Usually, those world overlords who could enter the secret realm of the Doomsday Era have all obtained the recognition of the origin laws. And the sector lord of the absolute beginning secret realm, any one of them, was a tyrannical existence in the universe, much stronger than Jiang Tianchen of the Black Dragon Mountain Starfield. How sharp were the judgment of these world overlords! He could clearly see the strengths and weaknesses of Luo Feng and Sa Jin's Fire Dragon. Beside, the sector lords and domain lords looked over in anticipation. In the distance, the seniors were provoking Luo Feng. In the arena, Sa Jin's eyes were spitting fire as he stared angrily at Luo Feng. Are you going or not? Wuka looked at Luo Feng. It's fine if you don't have the confidence. From what I see, that Sa Jin is just waiting to trample on you. Don't let him get what he wants. Beside, the green-haired youth Jiang Mo said softly, and Sa Jin has passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge over 1,000 years ago. Even if he temporarily lowers his head, it won't be a loss of face. Are you going or not? Rong Jun said solemnly. The surrounding big man Ao Pate La, the gentle and beautiful Qian Shui and Ai Chen, the handsome Lancelot all looked at Luo Feng. The 8 of them formed a faction, the newbie faction. Honor and disgrace. I originally wanted to wait until the qualification battles before using my trump card. Looks like I have to use it this time. Luo Feng looked at the dragon tail man on the arena, and at the excited yet nervous Wuka, Qian Shui, Rong Jun and the others. He made his decision. For everyone, this battle, he had to win. Rumble. Luo Feng immediately became a beam of light, like a shooting star, landing in the distant arena. Ha! Good! Luo Feng, you have guts. Beautiful! Work hard, I have high hopes for you. The group of sector lords and domain lords all shouted loudly, wishing for the world to be in chaos. Within their hearts, they indeed treated Luo Feng as their equal, because they could tell that with his improvement speed, he had a high chance of making it into the primal region. In the arena, Luo Feng and Sa Jin were separated by a few kilometers facing each other. They could clearly see each other, even the sweat pores on each other's faces. You have some guts. Sa Jin's voice was powerful. Cut the crap, make your move, Luo Feng said. In the distance, Sa Jin heard and immediately smiled. Punk, you sure are arrogant. However, I'll wake you up. Shwa. The dark cloud shuttle appeared below Luo Feng's feet. Simultaneously, the dark golden long rod on his back immediately shot out tens of thousands of golden lights. The little golden blades shot out in all directions. The engravings on the blades too released tens of thousands of golden threads. The countless threads shook the land and skies. Immediately the surrounding 100 kilometers area changed. A vast expanse, countless blade energy revolved. Blade world. Haha, interesting, interesting. Sa Jin raised his head and laughed. At the same time, crimson flames burst out from his body. The blazing flames circled around him and blocked the sword energy around him. His entire being was like a flame god. What a strong flame domain! It's incomparably reserved, yet it can block my blade world's pressure. Luo Feng thought. He stood on the dark cloud shuttle and floated in mid-air. Simultaneously a thread of golden blade energy condensed before him. It was a translucent golden sword tip. Go! Luo Feng pointed. Xiao! The golden blade energy pierced through the air. Ka! Sa Jin Huolong was wearing black armor and a battle skirt. At this moment, a pair of black gloves appeared on his hands. The gloves were made of black metal, and the knuckles were as sharp as knives. Rumble! Sa Jin's fire dragon punched the lightning-fast golden sword energy with a lightning-fast punch. Fist like an arrow. His bare arms and thick neck muscles trembled slightly. Obviously, in an instant, boundless energy was infused into this punch. A simple punch, yet it exploded with the strongest power. If he went to the undying altar, Sa Jin would at least reach 90 times his explosive power. Pung! The golden blade energy crumbled. Sa Jin took a heavy step back. His heavy boots stepped on the arena, causing countless rocks to fly. This scene made Luo Feng's expression change. He blocked it just like that? He actually made me take a step back. Sa Jin looked at Luo Feng and smiled. The Nanshin armament is indeed one of the 9 godly weapons. Rumble! Sa Jin took a step forward and his entire body rushed before Luo Feng. Luo Feng simultaneously retreated. What speed! Under the pressure of the blade world, his speed is still so fast. Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle and immediately exploded. Rumble! Immediately, over 10,000 images appeared in the surrounding sky and land. Countless images flickered. The 4th level of the 10,000 thread flow, after comprehending the 36th wonder and using the Time-Space Scribbles 3rd volume to study the rainstorm picture for half a year, Luo Feng was already able to unleash the 10,000 threads. Especially in the Blade World, with the help of the Blade World, it was much easier. Normally when he unleashed 10,000 images, it was purely a competition of speed. However, the 10,000 threads technique was able to effectively combine the 10,000 images, making Luo Feng like a demon, impossible to defend against. 10,000 threads? I hate these techniques that only know how to escape. Sa Jin's eyes seemed like they were about to spit fire. Haha, of course the controller won't engage in close combat with a fighter. The surrounding 10,000 Luofangs all laughed loudly. Suddenly, a thread of golden blade energy condensed and shot over. Xiao. The blade energy was like a mischievous child. Time and time again, it circled around Sa Jin's surroundings, not clashing head-on with him at all. Bastard! Sa Jin roared angrily at the fire dragon. His hands, which were covered in hideous gloves, stretched out slightly, and then clenched into fists again. Rumble! 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 7 images. Each of the 7 Sa Jin fiery dragons was performing a fist technique. From left to right, the dark red layer of light on their gloves became thicker and thicker. Especially the 7th Phantom, the dark red layer on the gloves was already 30 centimeters thick, making its fists look like huge iron hammers. Rumble! Sa Jin's fire dragon punched in mid-air. The land and skies shook, and with a rumble, the entire blade world immediately crumbled. Only the area around Luofeng was still maintained. Luofeng's expression changed. This is the 9 fists? Black hole evolution was comparable to time-space scribbles. It was considered 2 techniques of the same level. As long as one trained it to a higher level, he would reach the universe country leader level. It was said that when one trained black hole evolution to the extreme, whether it was a punch, a blade, or even a thought, one could create a black hole. Black hole was an extremely terrifying celestial body. It wasn't a true hole. It was an extremely dense celestial body formed from countless matter collapsing and condensing. In terms of density, white dwarfs were extremely dense, while neutron stars were even more terrifying. However, the density of a neutron star was not on the same level as that of a black hole. Black holes were extremely small. However, in terms of mass, it far exceeded 1 or 10 stars. The terrifying density and mass gave the black hole an extremely powerful gravitational force. Gravitational force, ripping space. Accurately speaking, black holes existed in between the primal universe space and the space turbulence. Because of its high density, mass and gravitational force, even the space turbulence couldn't affect it. Hence, it was like a boulder rooted in the same spot without moving. It swallowed all light, ships, planets and stars, turning them into its own. Even the great undying, if they were to fall into the depths of a black hole, they would fall. 9 refinement fists was one of the secret techniques in the black hole evolution, and it was very famous. P.S. 2 chapters completed. Chapter 562. At this time, in the clouds above Yuxiang Mountain, there were 2 silhouettes walking in space. Yuxiang Mountain was where the core geniuses of the Virtual Universe Company gathered. Thunder Island was where the Undyings and Absolute Warriors of the Virtual Universe Company gathered. Which meant Yuxiang Mountain and Thunder Island were in this space, was in truth the true headquarters of the Virtual Universe Company. The number of experts gathered there was much more than the base camp in the real world. And under normal circumstances, Luo Feng and the others couldn't fly too high. Luo Feng and the others couldn't fly out of Yuxiang Mountain to Thunder Island. They couldn't fly too far from Yuxiang Mountain, almost like a formless restriction had enveloped the entire mountain. Similarly, Thunder Island was where countless Undyings and even stronger beings gathered. It too had a formless restriction. Those Undyings couldn't fly too far from Thunder Island. Hence, to be able to leave Yuxiang Mountain and Thunder Island and fly in other places in this space, they were definitely the true upper echelons of the Virtual Universe Company, absolute beings. Of the 2 people walking through the void, one was nearly 8 meters tall and wore silver battle armor. His exposed arms, neck, and face were all dark red, and there was a diamond-shaped crystal embedded in his forehead. At the same time, his tailbone was a thick dragon tail, and there seemed to be a burning star in the depths of his eyes. With one look, one could tell that this powerful being was from the Mother Flame clan. The other person was only 2 meters tall. He was lean and wore a black battle robe with a strange design. There were countless silver patterns on the battle robe, and there was a third eye between his eyebrows, a vertical eye. That vertical eye seemed to condense a golden blade in it, making people feel that his gaze was like a sharp blade. "Haha, Mother Flame, look below, one of those two punks in the arena is your descendant." The three-eyed man gazed below, through 10,000 kilometers of space. He could clearly see the two on the arena preparing to fight. Mother Flame? In the ancient Mother Flame race of the universe, only one person had the right to be called Mother Flame. That was the first Mother Flame race member to be born in the vast universe. He was the first to be born. He had other clansmen, and after countless years, the Mother Flame clan was born. He was also the only head of the Flame Mother clan in 1,000,000,000 years, and also the leader of the Flame Crystal Universe country. His name is Sa-Jin, a young genius from the Fire Dragon tribe. Mother Flame looked down and smiled. "Mother Flame, who do you think will win?" The three-eyed man laughed. "Of course it's Sa-Jin." Mother Flame smiled confidently and glanced at the three-eyed man. "Why, you don't agree?" The three-eyed man smiled and said, "I bet that his opponent will win. If I win, you will give me that dagger. How about it? Dream on." Mother Flame stared. "I don't want your dagger. If I win, you give me that gold horn world stone. How about that?" said the three-eyed man. Mother Flame looked and smiled. "You can have a gold horn world stone. If I win, you have to give me the purple-blue lightning glass." "Fine," the three-eyed man said. "Haha, then prepare to give me the exquisite lightning glass." Mother Flame said. "You two prepare that gold horn world stone. A golden horned beast can only condense one gold horn world stone in its entire life. The main material for my disciple's weapon will be settled." The three-eyed man laughed. The two of them smiled and gazed down. The purple-blue lightning glass and the gold horn world stone were mysterious items that were born in the universe. The gold horn world stone could only be produced by one of the 12 pinnacle space beasts, the golden horned beast, and it could only produce one in its entire life. With the extremely rare number of golden horned beasts in the universe, one could see how valuable and rare the gold horn world stone was. The purple-blue lightning glass, in the universe, was only produced by the terrifying Thunder God Hall secret region within the bug race's territory. Countless years ago, there was a strange race that lived within the Thunder God Hall. They even built the Thunder God Hall. Even that race didn't manage to explore the entire secret region. After that, that race was wiped out by the automaton race. The Thunder God Hall secret region had become one of the most famous secret regions in the universe. Trillions of races from the vast universe went to explore it. Even the Undyings from the human race went to explore it. The Thunder God Hall was one of the more important materials. 10,000 threads. The three-eyed man nodded and smiled. "Haha, Nine Fist. We'll win for sure." Mother Flame smiled too. The two gazed down. Yuxiang Mountain Absolute Beginning Region. In the arena, Luo Feng's battle with Sa-Jin's fire dragon had already reached its craziest stage. Rumble, Sa-Jin's fist destroyed the blade world around him. His eyes were spitting fire as he stared at Luo Feng. "Punk, you'll lose for sure." So, Sa-Jin's speed exploded fiercely. His movements were unpredictable. It felt as though there were two Sa-Jins rushing over, but it also felt as though there was only one. His 9 fists has already caused the space to warp. Looking at him with the naked eye, his silhouette is no longer real. Luo Feng's expression changed. He stood on the dark cloud shuttle and unleashed the 10,000 threads to dodge. At the same time, he controlled the blade world, causing the remaining half to extend outward. Using the world energy of the blade world, he locked onto his opponent. "It's no use." Sa-Jin's fire dragon roared and immediately appeared before Luo Feng. Rumble. That huge fist wrapped in a 30 centimeters thick dark red light was like two dark red hammers. Around the fist, flames burned. This fist was as fast as lightning, leaving behind a trail of fire and smashing into Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng's body became a blur and dispersed. So fast. A few km away, Luo Feng, who stood on the dark cloud shuttle, stared hard at Sa Jin's fire dragon. Another thread of golden blade energy condensed before him. Go! The golden blade energy pierced through the air. Luo Feng didn't control the blade energy to clash head-on. Instead, he used it to attack from all angles, affecting Sa Jin's speed. Roar! Sa Jin's fire dragon was enraged. With a roar, the flames on his body shrunk fiercely. Simultaneously, a dark red light formed on his skin and bones, almost like he was wearing a dark golden armor. Simultaneously, his right fist became a blur. Pung! It was extremely fast and immediately smashed into the blade energy. His speed is so much faster than before? The distant Luo Feng's expression changed. I was originally prepared to use this move against Luo Fu. Today I'll let you have a taste of it. Sa Jin's fire dragon's speed exploded fiercely and rushed at Luo Feng. So. His silhouette was as fast as lightning. Luo Feng dodged with difficulty and danger. The Flame Crystal 9 refinements from Black Hole Evolution? This Sa Jin actually completed the first training? Below the arena, the silver-armored youth Ni Nan's expression changed. It'll be hard for me to beat him this time. Flame Crystal 9 Refinement Body was another secret technique in the Black Hole Evolution. In terms of power, it was much stronger than the Nine Fists. Once the Flame Crystal 9 Tempering Body was mastered, it was as if one's entire body was covered in a layer of armor. Not only did this armor have a defensive effect, but it also increased the speed, attack, and other aspects of the cultivator. It was a very heaven-defying secret art. However, just the basics were extremely hard. Sa Jin's fire dragon, as he was from the Mother Flame clan, he was naturally suited for it. His talent was extremely high and he had a good teacher. After studying for thousands of years, he finally managed to grasp the basic. Luo Feng is in trouble this time. Rong Jun's expression changed. That big guy's speed is too fast. Wuka stared wide-eyed. A group of newbies, and the universe-level seniors, including the sector lords and domain lords, were all shocked. Ignoring the energy level, just in terms of level, this Sa Jin's fire dragon was above average amongst the domain lord level geniuses. That Luo Feng is about to lose. It's not a bad loss. Trampled on. Luo Feng was indeed being trampled on. Unleashing the Flame Crystal 9 body, Sa Jin's fire dragon was like a human form monster. His fist speed could completely match the blade energy's speed. His body's speed could match Luo Feng's Dark Cloud Shuttle's speed. In just 3 exchanges, the third fist smashed into Luo Feng's 6-edged shield. Rumble, the shield was sent flying. Luo Feng's entire body smashed into the arena, causing a deep ditch to form. He actually didn't die. His ability to use the shield isn't any weaker than a powerful fighter. Sa Jin smiled savagely. However, it's no use. Powerful fighter? Shield, blade, these were the Masha clansmen's normal equipment for training the illusionary technique. Using the blade well, the shield's defense was naturally strong too. Rumble! Sa Jin's fire dragon rushed over. Luo Feng, who was lying on the ground, looked up fiercely, staring at Sa Jin's fire dragon and roaring, "Go and die!" The blade whirled fiercely, extended in all directions. A thread of golden blade energy gathered before Luo Feng. Sa Jin's fire dragon rushed over, his eyes filled with disdain and shock. Rumble! A terrifying pressure descended and bombarded Sa Jin's fire dragon's consciousness. Luo Feng's trump card, consciousness pressure. The golden horned beast was already a domain lord level 9. This domain lord level 9 golden horned beast, in terms of consciousness strength, it was comparable to a normal human sector lord level 3's consciousness pressure. Back when Luo Feng went to Blood River World, A domain Lord Pinnacle's consciousness pressure could cause a star-level soul to instantly crumble. One look and he would die. And now he had a Sector Lord Level 3's consciousness pressure. And that Sa Jin's fire dragon, even though his bloodline was good, his talent was good, and he had many encounters, in terms of consciousness strength, it was at most domain Lord Level 1 or 2. There was an entire level difference. Even if he didn't die, his consciousness would instantly explode and he would lose his ability to resist. This move was extremely powerful. In Blood River World, Luo Feng used it frequently. However, in the Heavenly Bridge's 7th level, he didn't use it at all, because the Heavenly Bridge tested one's comprehension of the origin laws. If he used consciousness pressure, it would be cheating. And Luo Feng was also worried that the virtual universe system would directly raise the Guardian's consciousness. Hence, he never used it in the Heavenly Bridge. However, one-on-one, he could still use it. Rumble. Sa Jin's fire dragon was immediately stunned, his eyes lifeless. Chi. The dark golden blade energy shot straight into his eye and pierced through his head. The moment it pierced through his head, Sa Jin's other eye gleamed, as though he had regained consciousness. It was a pity, it was too late. Rumble. Sa Jin's fire dragon fell to the ground, smashing into the arena. Return. Luo Feng stood up. The countless dark golden little blades flew towards him from the surrounding sky, all entering the dark golden long rod behind him. This battle, victory. Chapter 563. High up in the clouds of Yuxiang Mountain, the two standing in mid-air gazed down with different expressions. Haha, Mother Flame, thank you for your gold horn world stone. My disciple's weapon will finally be settled. The three-eyed man laughed, simultaneously glancing at Mother Flame, observing his expression. That punk just now actually won? Mother Flame gazed below, frowning. What a strong consciousness pressure. Don't change the topic. The three-eyed man laughed. Don't tell me you want to go back on your word. Don't worry, I'll definitely give you the gold horn world stone. Mother Flame felt his heart ache. This wasn't a common metal in the universe. Even though the hybrid copper essence was an extremely expensive metal, with the UNMO planet master Hu Yenbo's ability, he could still use large amounts of hybrid copper essence to build a ship. And the gold horn world stone? One golden horned beast could only produce one. If a golden horned beast died, there wouldn't be a single gold horn world stone. All the gold horn world stones in the universe added up wouldn't even be enough to build a ship. It and the hybrid copper essence were like diamonds and mud. I just can't understand, how can that punk's consciousness pressure be so strong? Mother Flame said. He was born with an extremely wide mind domain, or he had some special encounters that allowed his soul to metamorphose. The three-eyed man smiled. Anyway, the universe is vast and mysterious, there are many things we don't know. Meeting one that causes his soul to evolve, his consciousness strength will increase greatly. Even though it's rare in the history of the universe, there are still some. Mother Flame shook his head, staring at the three-eyed man. You've earned quite a bit. Haha, don't blame me. If you want to blame someone, blame that little genius of your clan. His willpower is ordinary. If his willpower is strong enough, he can completely maintain his consciousness. The three-eyed man laughed. Mother Flame was shocked, after which he nodded. His willpower is ordinary. The consciousness was like countless soldiers. Willpower was the general. Back when Luo Feng attempted Fantasy Ocean, he would face the consciousness pressure as he passed through the islands. That 9th island, many Sector Lord Pinnacle warriors couldn't even pass. The 9th island's consciousness pressure was even stronger than a Sector Lord Pinnacle's. It was between Sector Lord Pinnacle and Undying. And Luo Feng's consciousness was only Domain Lord Pinnacle when he attempted Fantasy Ocean. There was a difference of over an entire level. Fight it head-on. He remained clear-headed and directly past the 9th island. And when he tried to enter the 10th island, because of the Undying level pressure, it immediately dispersed Luo Feng's consciousness, resulting in his failure. From Sector Lord to Undying was a transformation of the soul, hence the universe level, Domain Lord and Sector Lord levels of consciousness pressure wasn't that terrifying. From Sector Lord to Undying, there was a fundamental increase in the pressure of consciousness. Hence, on the 10th island, Luo Feng's consciousness would be blasted into pieces. Luo Feng's willpower was terrifyingly strong. His consciousness was incomparably condensed, almost like a crystal. No matter how it oppressed them, he would still be able to stay awake unless he exceeded his limits, and his entire consciousness would shatter. 1. Sober. 2. Shattered. There were only these two results. As for those with weak willpower, they would be scared silly by someone else's shout. Dumbfounded. It was a state of confusion, absent-mindedness, and blankness. Sa Jin's fire dragon, under Luo Feng's consciousness pressure and ferocious attacks, was instantly stunned. If his willpower was as strong as Luo Feng's, he would at most feel dizzy, but he would definitely be able to stay awake. Absolute beginning region, below the arena, it was silent. At this time there were already close to 300 people gathered below. About a quarter of the absolute beginning members were here. How can this be? He lost? Sa Jin's fire dragon unleashed the 9 fists and the flame crystal 9 body, and he still lost. What happened at the last moment, that Luo Feng, did he unleash some sort of spirit attack? The group of sector lords were shocked. Most of them thought Sa Jin's fire dragon would win. However, the final result was unexpected. Even with their abilities, they couldn't see what happened at the last moment. He lost? We lost. Sa Jin, he lost. The universe-level seniors were all stunned. They looked at the black-haired youth in the arena in despair. They too were geniuses of the absolute beginning region. Some of them were chosen from the genius battles, some were chosen from the warrior battles, and some were chosen from the virtual universe company's usual recruitment in the 1008 universe countries. Who wasn't a genius? And they were all geniuses that had trained for a long time. However, today, against a group of newbies that didn't even have the time to participate in their first qualification battles, they lost. Enai Nan, Mo Iron and Ash, who had been defeated earlier, were standing next to Enai Nan. What's going on? How could we lose? Enai Nan stared at Luo Feng in the arena. Sa Jin, that punk, even I didn't have any confidence in beating him in that state. I could only use my trump card to fight. However, at the last moment, Sa Jin was actually defeated in his peak state. What happened? What happened? Enai Nan was anxious within. Because Luo Feng was his obstacle in the qualification battles. Sa Jin lost at the last moment. I might end up the same way. Enai Nan frowned, thinking hard. What happened at the last moment? Luo Feng carried the dark golden long rod on his back and walked down the arena. Haha, Luo Feng, well done. Wuka jumped and shouted. Powerful. Rong Jun smiled and waved his fist. Luo Feng, that last roar of yours, go and die, was really satisfying to listen to. The handsome young man, Lancelot, smiled and shouted. The siblings, Jiang Mo and Qian Shui, were excited too. Ai Chen, who was gentle and quiet, was all smiles, while Opatra, the silly guy, was smiling too. Luo Feng smiled and walked to the side of the arena, about to jump down. Luo Feng. A roar resounded from behind. Luo Feng turned. In the distance a silhouette descended from the sky and landed in the arena. It was Sa Jin and Fire Dragon. The tall and sturdy Mother Flame clansman Sa Jin's face was filled with rage and embarrassment. The moment his consciousness returned to reality after being defeated, he immediately entered the virtual universe network and rushed over from his villa. What happened at the end? Sa Jin stared at Luo Feng. He didn't understand. They were both universe level 9, but why was the difference in consciousness pressure so huge? Don't ask me what happened. I can only say that your willpower is too weak. Luo Feng looked at Sa Jin and communicated, train your willpower well. If one's willpower was strong, even if one's consciousness was pressured, as long as it wasn't too far off, one could still remain conscious. You! Sa Jin pointed at Luo Feng with his fire dragon, unable to speak. I hope the next time I meet you, you'll be stronger, otherwise, the primal region slot won't be yours. Luo Feng finished and jumped down, landing with Wuka and Rong Jun's group, simultaneously smiling. Let's go, let's return. Wuka, don't fight with me. This time it's my treat. Aogu Sea Planet's genius Jiang Mo shouted. This batch of newbies, in terms of money. Wuka, Jiang Mo and Qian Shui were considered rich. As for Luo Feng, Rong Jun and the others, they were far from it. After all, their backgrounds were huge. I don't mind who pays. Luo Feng smiled. As long as there's food. Rong Jun smiled. Ruthlessly ripped them off. Wuka shouted. The group of newbies laughed and left. The over 200 world overlords below the stage, as well as some domain overlords, were all discussing and sighing in admiration. After that, they left in groups of 3 to 5. Obviously this battle had made these seniors remember Luo Feng's name. Below the arena, only the universe-level seniors didn't disperse. Sa Jin, how did you lose? What happened? Many familiar with Sa Jin walked over. Sa Jin? And Nan walked over too. Sa Jin snorted softly, glancing at the surrounding people and staring at Nan. And Nan, you be careful too, otherwise you'll lose to him in the qualification battles. With that, Sa Jin and Huolong walked out. This punk. The silver-armored youth and Nan stared at Sa Jin's tall silhouette, his eyes gleaming with gloom. He's actually not willing to say anything. Sa Jin rushed into the sky, laughing coldly within. And Nan, you really think I'm stupid? Tell you Luo Feng's ultimate move? Wouldn't that give you guys some time to prepare? If you lose, I'll have a higher chance of entering the primal region. Losing this battle is good too, at least I'll be prepared for the qualification battles. Looks like I'll have to frequently enter Fantasy Ocean to train my willpower. My willpower is weak, I can't withstand that consciousness pressure at all. Sa Jin made his decision. News of this battle quickly spread. The absolute beginning universe-level uncrowned Emperor Luo Fu, the terrifying chemist Yu Feng etc. all received news of this battle. There were even some universe-level seniors who wanted to challenge Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng didn't accept at all, because he had begun his training mission. According to the plan, after passing the Heavenly Bridge's 7th level, he would begin his training mission. Absolute Beginning Region, Dragon Tower Planet. This was an ancient and huge planet. A camouflaged automaton ship entered the planet's atmosphere, after which it kept the ship. A silhouette flashed and crossed 100 kilometers, arriving in the endless forest ocean below. Luo Feng. He wore a dark red undergarment, that was the Cloud Contact Vine's undergarment. Outside the undergarment was a layer of camouflage armor, and on his arms were 2 camouflage arm guards. On his legs, he wore camouflage trousers, which were also weaved from alloy thread. They were flexible and had extremely high defense. There was also a screen embedded on his arm guard, which was made of tough material. A large number of words appeared on the screen, which was the information of the surrounding detection. On his back he carried a dark golden long rod. It's really uncomfortable in Blood River World, many weapons can't be used, even technology can't be used. This Dragon Tower planet is better, I can use everything. Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings, however, the danger level here is much higher. Universe warrior Luo Feng descended on Dragon Tower planet. He began his training mission journey PS. 2 chapters completed. Chapter 564. Dragon Tower Planet, an ancient planet birthed within the absolute beginning region. If it was in a normal star field, it would be impossible for such a huge planet like the Dragon Pagoda star to exist. However, under the nurturing of the universe's secret region's incomparably dense source energy, the primeval universe had taken a different path in the universe's secret region, giving birth to many unique celestial bodies and life forms. Gravity, 10,812 times of Earth's gravity? In the air, nitrogen takes up 98%? A fully armored Luo Feng walked within the vast forest. The screen on his left arm floated with detailed information. Luo Feng's gaze swept his surroundings, his ears twitching. There's a sound. Schwa. His boots gently stepped on the rotten leaves. In an instant his entire being vanished. A few hundred km away, Luo Feng was half squatting on a 30 m thick, green and yellow crooked ancient tree branch, looking at a huge creature 10 kilometers away. With Luo Feng's vision, 10 kilometers away, that creature called a dragon, even its scales could be seen clearly. Its height was about 1200 m, its main body length was about 600 m, with a short tail that was only about 100 m long. Its entire body seemed to be covered in a layer of scales carved out of purple stone. Its head was extremely huge, especially that huge bloody mouth that was incomparably malevolent. With a single gulp, it could probably drink an entire lake dry. Its 4 hooves were thick and powerful, its running ability was unquestionable. It was the leader of the surrounding 10,000 kilometers, the Tyrannosaurus, the rock dragon. It had extremely strong attacking abilities. A swarm of 100-meter-long pterosaurs whizzed past in the sky. So, the crag dragon charged forward like a bolt of lightning, leaving an afterimage in the distance. As it ran, it suddenly opened its mouth, and a bloody light flashed, directly wrapping around one of the pterosaurs, causing the rest of the pterosaurs to shriek and scatter in all directions. The pterosaur struggled frantically, but was dragged into the crag dragon's bloody mouth by the blood-colored tongue. Kacha kacha kacha. The 100-meter-long pterosaur was eaten clean. After the rock dragon ate its fill, it happily raised its head and roared. In the distant forest, Luo Feng squatted on the branch and looked down at the screen on his arm. On it appeared clear information. Rock Dragon, Adult Universe Level 9 Pinnacle. It's one of the mission targets. Schwa. The screen changed to a complicated diagram. This diagram had many complicated types of dragons, but without a doubt, all of the targets were Universe Level 9 pinnacles. The mission of the Dragon Pagoda planet was called Dragon Hunter Mission. The mission was to kill all the targets on the catalog and obtain a certain material from the target's body to bring back as a keepsake. Now that all the targets had been killed, when he returned, he would receive the mission points, 10,000 mission points. This mission seemed simple, and if he killed them one by one, it would be very easy. But the dangerous part was, Dragon Pagoda Planet didn't just have these weak little dragons. To a warrior like Luo Feng, the Universe Level 9 dragons were indeed weak. There were many Domain Lord level and even Sector Lord Pinnacle level dragons. Once a Peak Sector Lord level dragon was provoked, even the Star Destroyer cannon of the mechanical ship would have to store energy for a long time before it could fire. On the Dragon Pagoda Planet there were countless dragons. Besieged, riding the ship, one wouldn't even be able to escape. Rock Dragon. Luo Feng nodded. The first. So, Luo Feng's silhouette vanished. And 10 kilometers away, in the wilderness outside the forest, the rock dragon that had eaten its fill roared and surveyed its surroundings, extremely arrogant. It had the right to be arrogant, because during the growth process of a dragon, over 90% of them were eaten and killed in their infancy stage. Very few had to go through many trials and tribulations to reach adulthood. On the Dragon Pagoda planet, the adult dragons were at least universe level. Any adult dragon could control a territory. Of course, there were big and small territories. Go! Luo Feng immediately appeared in mid-air. The golden light behind him shot out in all directions, immediately forming a 3 m long dark golden long blade. Nanshin Armaments 5th Level. Space Slicer. Xiao. The The crag dragon slightly turned its head and saw a tiny speck floating in the air staring at it. Just as it let out a dissatisfied roar, a golden light directly shot towards it. The crag dragon wanted to turn its head to dodge, but it felt an invisible spatial pressure binding it. It was slightly slower. Chi. The golden light pierced straight into the huge head. Chi, it madly attacked. Following which the golden light flew out from the head and swiftly returned to Luo Feng's back. The rock dragon's huge eyes stared wide open, staring at the speck, not knowing what kind of terrifying life form this speck was, after which its consciousness was destroyed. Rumble, the rock dragon's huge body rumbled and smashed into the wilderness, causing the ground to shake violently. South Luo Feng landed on the rock dragon's corpse, his boots stepping on the purple rock armor. Looking around the dragon's body, it felt like a huge mountain. Collect the scales on its chest. Luo Feng's body flashed and appeared before the chest of the rock dragon. His spirit energy immediately peeled off a scale and kept it in his space ring. Shua. Luo Feng immediately landed in the distant wilderness grass, looking around, on to the next one. The vast dragon pagoda planet. Anything below sector lord level that met Luo Feng would definitely die. Not mentioning Luo Feng's camouflage armor and army pants, those were all made of cheap alloy materials. Of course they were E9 grade. Luo Feng's greatest reliance was the cloud contact vine within his body that had become his armor. Right now, the cloud contact vine was already domain lord level 9, 80 years on Blood River World was enough. Just relying on the cloud contact vine alone, he would be able to sweep through anyone below sector lord level. To Luo Feng, the biggest problem was how to evolve the cloud contact vine to sector lord level using points. Luo Feng couldn't bear to. With money? Right now Luo Feng didn't have enough money. I can only wait. Wait till I finish all the missions in one go and enter the primal region. Then I'll raise my earth body to domain lord level. That way, I'll be able to get my teacher's biggest inheritance. Dragon Pagoda Planet Mission, Dangerous Level. Took 39 days to complete, reward 10,000 points. Void Cliff Mission, Dangerous Level. Took 21 days to complete, reward 15,000 points. Luo Feng began his crazy life of missions. According to the Virtual Universe Company's rules, only universe-level geniuses could accept missions. Domain lords were sent outside, sector lords were life or death training, and universe-level geniuses could at most accept 10 missions every 100 years. To prevent them from madly accepting missions, there was a limit to the number of missions a person could take. A universe-level genius, impossible-level mission, a primal region member could at most take 3. Absolute beginning member could at most take 2. Sky and last phase members could at most take 1 impossible level mission. This was for safety reasons. If one didn't have enough strength to take the impossible level mission, wouldn't that be courting death? Secondly, it was the resource allocation. The impossible level missions were incomparably dangerous, however the point rewards were ridiculous too. Primal region members could at most take 3, the highest. Dangerous level missions, primal region members could at most take 15. Absolute beginning members could at most take 10. Sky members could at most take 6. Last phase members could at most take 3. Hard level missions, according to the reward points, Luo Feng didn't even bother with the safe, normal and hard levels, because the rewards were too pitiful. The impossible level mission rewards were at least 100k points, some were hundreds of thousands, even millions. Dangerous level missions were normally 10,000 to 20,000 points, the maximum was 100k points. The hard mode was worth around 1 to 2,000 points. The normal rank was worth between 1 to 200 points. Safe level, forget about it, it was too little. 6 months later. Brother, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. Damn, how long has it been and you've already completed 4 dangerous level missions? Wooka looked like he had seen a ghost as he looked at Luo Feng. Beside, Rongjun stared at Luo Feng too. Luo Feng sat there holding his wine glass, smiling. Don't be shocked. Didn't you tell me to tell you? I won't lie to my brother, however the moment I did, look at your expression. Including your Blood River World mission, you've already completed 5 dangerous level missions. Wooka sighed. From what I know, the dangerous level missions are distributed in many secret regions, of which there are a total of 5 dangerous level missions in the absolute beginning region. To complete them in such a short amount of time, if I were to go to another star sector, just the travel time alone would make it. Wooka stared at Luo Feng. You've completed all the dangerous level missions in the absolute beginning region? Smart. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Vicious. Wooka shook his head. To save time, I didn't even seriously choose the missions. Anyway, there are only 3 dangerous level missions with high points. Luo Feng smiled indifferently. Absolute beginning members can at most accept 10 dangerous level missions. I still have a quota. Luo Feng looked down at the fist-sized Babata on his shoulder and stood up. Wooka, Rongjun, my teacher is looking for me. I'll be leaving first. Teacher! Go! The two didn't stop him. Luo Feng became a beam of light and left Wooka's villa, heading towards his own. Within the training grounds of the villa, the tall and sturdy Tru Yen rubbed the golden fur on his face, looking at his disciple as though he had seen a ghost. Even though Tru Yen was an ancient being that had lived for trillions of years, he had so many disciples under him. Only 3 to 5 of them could truly satisfy him, and this Luo Feng was one of them. Your talent is indeed high. Your improvement is also getting more and more shocking. You indeed have a reason to be proud and confident. Tru Yen rubbed the fur on his face, frowning as he looked at Luo Feng. It's fine that you've consecutively completed 5 dangerous level missions, but impossible level. That's impossible. What's impossible? The death rate is as high as 90%, those who dare enter are all confident, yet the death rate is still as high as 90%. You didn't even participate in the first qualification battles, and you're going to the impossible level. Tell me, should I call you arrogant and conceited, or should I call you confident? Tru Yen couldn't help but advise his disciple before him. Teacher, I've already made my decision, and I'm confident, Luo Feng said. It's been a long trip home today, and I really want a rest, so I'll take a break. Right now I owe everyone 3 chapters. I'll return all the chapters tomorrow or the day after. Chapter 565. Luo Feng was very humble in front of his teacher, however his answers were filled with an unshakable determination. Tru Yen looked at the respectful disciple before him, shaking his head. He couldn't help but laugh. Luo Feng, your decision is a bit rash. However, in front of me, you're able to not waver at all. That's not bad. To become a strong warrior, you have to constantly reflect on yourself. The moment you discover a mistake, you have to immediately correct it. And if you think you're right, it's like faith and persevere. Since you've already made up your mind, I won't persuade you any further. One sentence, come back alive. Tru Yen looked at this disciple who was in his prime. With 1 trillion years of lifespan, he had seen his disciples die one by one. Teacher, I'll definitely come back alive. Luo Feng bowed respectfully. Go. Tru Yen nodded and waved his hand. Luo Feng bowed and walked out of the training grounds. Tru Yen watched as Luo Feng left, his eyes filled with a complex expression, after which he vanished. Walking out of the training grounds, the servants and guards within the villa all bowed when they saw Luo Feng. Your Majesty! Your Majesty! The group of people were all very respectful. Luo Feng, however, frowned and pondered. Teacher is right, those who dare to do the impossible level missions are all confident, the death rate is still as high as 90%. I have the Masha clansman and golden horned beast. My survivability is 10 times stronger than the others, however I can't let my guard down. Just from the 4 dangerous level missions in the past half a year alone, he had actually met with danger twice. He had instantly switched to the Masha clansman and relied on the domain Lord Level 9 Masha clansman's unbelievable speed to swiftly escape. Even the dangerous level missions were troublesome. This impossible level mission, naturally he couldn't be careless. Luo Feng entered his study and sat before his desk, opening his laptop and clicking on the page. Safety grade, normal grade, hard grade, dangerous grade, impossible grade. Impossible level. Luo Feng didn't hesitate and immediately clicked. D. A piercing sound resounded from the screen. Luo Feng, I'll seriously remind you, this is an impossible level mission. In the history of our virtual universe company, many absolute beginning and primal region members have accepted this impossible level mission and lost their lives. I suggest that you go through a few more qualification battles before attempting to accept the impossible mission. The electronic voice echoed in the study. If you want to exit, please choose to cancel. If you want to accept the impossible level mission, please choose to confirm. Once confirmed, there's no turning back. I must complete the impossible grade mission. Luo Feng smiled and immediately clicked confirm. Beep. The screen automatically refreshed, and a brand new page appeared. This page could only be seen when players accepted the impossible quest. At the top of the page was a line of words, hopeless missions. The death rate is 90%. Surviving a hopeless situation requires both strength and luck. You can only choose 2 hopeless missions at most. Please choose carefully. The following is the impossible mission list. 1. Purgatory Abyss, Virtual Universe Company Primal Region. 2. Cloud Palace, Battleaxe Coliseum, Divine Beginning Secret Realm. 8. Demon Mountain, Virtual Universe Company Absolute Beginning Region. 12. Death Star, Universe Mercenary Alliance Glory Secret Region. 18. Blood Demon Continent, Universe First Banks Dripping Blood Secret Region. Luo Feng looked at the list and creased his eyebrows. There's a total of 186 dangerous level missions, and this impossible level mission only has a total of 18. What a pitiful amount. 18 impossible level missions. 4 of them were in the Virtual Universe Company's secret regions, the other 14 were in Battleaxe Coliseum, Universe Mercenary Alliance, Universe Galaxy Bank and Universe First Bank's secret regions. Just looking at these names, Luo Feng could feel the incoming danger. They were called impossible missions, they definitely weren't meant to scare him. I'll take a good look at them one by one. Just what are these impossible missions? Luo Feng began to flip through them. Every impossible mission had a detailed introduction, and also detailed mission requirements. The points were all different. The lowest was the Death Star mission. However, there were a total of 3 Death Star missions, and every one of them gave 100,000 points. Added together, it wasn't a small amount. The highest Purgatory Abyss mission, just one mission alone gave 1 million points. He carefully read and pondered for a full half an hour. Absorb. Luo Feng took a deep cold breath. Staring at the screen before him, he said softly, "That's vicious. What I said before was right. If he wanted to survive the impasse mission safely, strength was of course fundamental, but he also needed a little bit of luck. Even for me, if my luck is bad and I fall into a nightmare situation, exposing all my clones, I might not even make it out alive. 18 missions, all of them extremely sick. As long as my luck isn't too bad, I still have a certain level of confidence. Which one should I choose?" Luo Feng wasn't afraid or worried at all. There was no such thing as 100% safety in this world. Even normal people of Earth could fall from the sky while walking. Even if you followed the rules, those drunk drivers could break the rules and crash into you. Even a powerful warrior like Luo Feng, if his luck was bad. Maybe some absolute being would encounter something painful and vent his anger, killing a bunch of punks. Maybe the Bug Clan or Automaton absolute beings would attack through universe travel and enter the secret region, killing a bunch of punks. Anyway, There was no such thing as absolute safety. As long as one had a certain level of confidence, one would go in. Demon Mountain is the only impossible mission in the absolute beginning region. Looking at the introduction, it suits me well. Since it's close, I'll take it. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, gently tapping to accept. Please confirm accepting the Demon Mountain mission. Acceptance successful. Please fill in the departure time. The Virtual Universe Company will arrange for people to send you there. Luo Feng took a deep breath and nodded. Demon Mountain was an ancient and mysterious place in the absolute beginning region. It floated in space. Around Demon Mountain, there were a total of 9 ancient planets. These 9 planets all had many aboriginals living there. Countless aboriginals would leave their own planets and enter Demon Mountain. Because only by entering Demon Mountain and coming out alive would one truly be recruited by the Virtual Universe Company and become a member of the Virtual Universe Company. Yes, different from Blood River World, Demon Mountain and the surrounding 9 ancient planets were all controlled by the Virtual Universe Company from behind. Of course, in terms of mysteriousness, Demon Mountain was even more mysterious. Demon Mountain missions: 1. Survive in Demon Mountain for 3 months, receive 100,000 points. 2. Survive in Demon Mountain for 3 years, receive 300,000 points. Just these 2 missions were extremely simple. Just survival. However, after Luo Feng carefully read through the Demon Mountain missions, he realized that just surviving was an extremely difficult thing. 2 days later, a universe ship arrived at Luo Feng's territory, that planet. Your Majesty Luo Feng. 3 black uniformed men walked down from the ship and bowed respectfully. Let's depart. Luo Feng, who was dressed in a colorful armor, army pants, and boots on the outside and a cloud contact battle uniform on the inside, nodded and said, "Yes." The 3 uniformed men bowed respectfully and followed Luo Feng into the cabin door. After which, the door closed and the ship began to rise. "Farewell, Your Majesty." Realm Lord Ao Duo and his guards bowed respectfully. So, the universe ship vanished in the distant space. Universe travel complete. We'll now begin the Dark Universe travel. Your Majesty Luo Feng, from here to Demon Mountain, it'll take about 6 hours. The leader, a man in a black uniform with silver threads on his sleeves, smiled. Luo Feng nodded. Right, are you specially sending people to Demon Mountain? Luo Feng suddenly asked. The black uniformed man smiled and bowed. Yes, all the universe level members within the absolute beginning region, as long as they head to Demon Mountain, I'll be the one to receive them. What's the death rate like? Luo Feng asked. I don't know. The black uniformed man smiled. Even though I'm the one receiving them, when the survivors return, it's the Virtual Universe Company's members that specially send them back. Hence, I don't know how many have died. However, I've heard from my colleagues that the death rate is rather high. Ah. Luo Feng nodded. However, I can tell Your Majesty Luo Feng, recently including you, there's a total of 3 heading to Demon Mountain. The black uniformed man said. 3? Luo Feng frowned. 1 is a Primal Region member, another is a Last Phase member, and the 3rd is Your Majesty Luo Feng. However, they've already entered Demon Mountain. The black uniformed man smiled. The one in charge of receiving them is also my colleague. Luo Feng nodded. Universe level Primal Region members? The 3 seniors plus Bolin and Long Yun, a total of 5. All 5 of them were likely to fight against him in the qualification battle. Therefore, he had checked their detailed information in advance. I wonder who it is it Bolin? Or Long Yun, or one of the 3 seniors? After which, Luo Feng returned to his resting cabin. After about 6 hours, the universe ship once again entered universe travel and returned to the actual universe. Look, Demon Mountain is right ahead. In the control room, the black uniformed man pointed ahead. The exterior simulation allowed Luo Feng to clearly see a black mountain that was covered in faint green and white mist in the distance. In the void, this mountain was incomparably majestic. It was obvious that it was extremely huge. In the distant surroundings of this majestic mountain, one could vaguely see many ancient planets. From Luo Feng's angle, he could only see 5 ancient planets. Demon Mountain, its height is 180 million kilometers, the widest part at its base is about 320 million kilometers. The black uniformed man pointed at the majestic mountain in space. Demon Mountain is what our virtual universe company calls it. The aboriginals of the 9 ancient planets all call Demon Mountain the Sacred Land, Forbidden Area, Inheritance Forbidden Area, etc. Frequently large amounts of aboriginals would enter Demon Mountain. In terms of numbers, actually the number of our virtual universe company that enters Demon Mountain doesn't even amount to 1/10,000 of the aboriginals that enter. Chapter 566. Demon Mountain, it floated majestically in space. This Devil Mountain was simply too huge. At the foot of the mountain, any random platform or canyon was comparable to Earth. Hence, at the foot of the mountain, there were many beautiful palaces built. Some of the palaces were towering for tens of thousands of li. Those who could live in those palaces were all undying beings. Do not make a ruckus. Do not fight and kill. Fly out of the valley. Anyone who disobeys will be killed without mercy. A majestic voice reverberated in the valley. Within the valley there were silhouettes, some sitting crossed-legged, some leaning on the rocks, some in groups of 3 to 5 chatting. They all looked very similar, they all had 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 eyes, a nose and a mouth, even their height was similar to Earth humans. The only difference was, all of them had 2 horns on their foreheads. They were either black horns or silver horns. With a glance, there were thousands of people within the vast valley. Teacher, how long do we have to wait? Demon Mountain has always been sealed. The Virtual Universe Company doesn't even let us in. A young man with black, curved horns and bare arms said in a low voice. Beside him, there were 6 other men and women surrounding the purple-armored old man in the center. These 8 people. The purple-armored old man was a sector lord. Of the 7 disciples under him, 2 were domain lords and 5 were universe levels. Only when we gather 10,000 will we be able to enter. An ancient voice resounded from the purple-armored old man. Teacher. Beside, a clear voice resounded. A silver-horned lady couldn't help but say, the warriors rushing over from the many planets, sometimes more, sometimes less. There's no pattern at all. Right now we've only gathered 6,000, we'll have to wait for 10,000. Who knows how long that'll take? You want to go against the Virtual Universe Company's rules? The purple-armored old man turned and glanced at his disciple. The lady bit her lips, not daring to speak. Slowly wait. The purple-armored old man exclaimed, as long as any of you can survive in Demon Mountain for a month, then you'll be able to enter the Virtual Universe Company. When that happens, you'll be able to roam the vast universe. Compared to the vast universe, our 9-star ocean is simply too small. The eyes of the 7 disciples gleamed. That was right. 9-star ocean, the 9 ancient planets' collective name, had many who entered the Virtual Universe Company, some who went out to explore the universe and returned to their homes to create sex, leaving behind high-tech videos, etc. He wanted to show the experts of the 9-star seas how vast and mysterious the universe was. Remember, if you feel that it's too dangerous and you can't last a month, immediately find a way to leave, the purple-armored elder said. Safety first. If I can't do it this time, I can go back and continue cultivating. I'll come back when I'm stronger. Understood. The 7 disciples all nodded. Suddenly, an oppressive clamor came from afar, and the 8 of them immediately stood up. Master, look over there. It's the Virtual Universe Company's silver-clothed manager. The 8 of them, along with the thousands of other people in the canyon, looked in shock at the large group of silver-clothed people flying out from the majestic palace. These silver-clothed people were all Virtual Universe Company's silver-clothed attendants. They had extremely high privileges. The world overlords of the country bumpkins didn't even dare to offend them. So many silver deacons? There must be close to 100. What are so many of them coming out for? The thousands of universe-level to sector lord aboriginal warriors of 9-Star Ocean were all extremely shocked. However, they didn't dare make any noise. Because going against the Virtual Universe Company's rules, there was only one outcome: death. Look, a ship. Wow, what a beautiful ship! The thousands of aboriginals' eyes gleamed. In the distant space, a universe ship swiftly approached, very quickly stopping in the air above the canyon. The cabin door opened. A black-haired youth dressed in colorful armor, army pants and boots walked out of the cabin door, and the close to 100 silver-clothed attendants flew over, all of them standing respectfully. At the very front of the close to 100 silver-clothed attendants, there were 3 white-robed men and women. They all bowed. "Your Majesty Luo Feng. Your Majesty Luo Feng." The close to 100 attendants were even more respectful. In mid-air, Luo Feng nodded, following which the 3 white-robed men and the group of silver-clothed attendants flew towards the palace. My God! My God, even the white-robed attendants personally came to welcome us. The white-robed attendants are all Sector Lord Pinnacle beings recognized by the origin laws, second only to the gods. I can see that black-haired youth is merely a universe level. The thousands of aboriginals didn't dare make any noise, they could only discuss softly, expressing the shock within. The high and mighty silver-clothed attendants were now like grandsons before the black-haired youth. Suddenly, one of them left the group and flew straight into the canyon. Immediately the voices of the thousands quieted down. All listen up. The silver-clothed attendant gazed coldly at the thousands of aboriginals. One of our majesties from the Virtual Universe Company headquarters is about to enter Demon Mountain for training, hence, we will immediately release the seal. You all can enter too. All go get your identity tags and prepare to enter. Yes. The thousands of aboriginals replied respectfully. The silver-clothed attendant flew away. The group of aboriginals below, however, were filled with joy. It's actually one of the majesties from the headquarters that has arrived. Our luck is really good. There's no need to gather 10,000. The purple-armored old man laughed loudly. Beside him the other 7 disciples were extremely happy too, of which the silver-horned lady said, "Teacher, just who is that majesty? He seems to have a very high position?" The majesties from the headquarters are the most outstanding geniuses the Virtual Universe Company has picked from the vast universe. They're 10,000 to 1,000,000 times stronger than you all, the purple-armored old man said, and to be able to make 3 white-robed attendants welcome him, in terms of position, he's comparable to a god. Comparable to a god? The 7 disciples stared wide-eyed. Luo Feng flew towards the palace, gazing at the group of aboriginals below. Your Majesty Luo Feng, these are all the aboriginals from the other 9 planets. According to our rules, entering Demon Mountain, one has to be at least universe level. Hence the majority of these aboriginals are universe levels, with a few domain lords and some sector lord. The tall and handsome white-robed youth smiled as he explained, at the same time carefully inspecting this Luo Feng. Luo Feng's name was rather resounding amongst the management. Even though he was at the bottom of the management, he knew. Luo Feng hadn't even gone through his first qualification battle, and he had already passed the 7th level. This made many of the upper echelons of the Virtual Universe Company pay attention to Luo Feng. Such a person, how could they neglect him? They welcomed Luo Feng according to the rules of welcoming Primal Region members. 3 white-robed attendants and a platoon of silver-clothed attendants went to welcome him. And a normal absolute beginning member, actually only 1 white-robed attendant and 9 silver-clothed attendants were enough. 2 ND level of the palace, Luo Feng entered the second level with the white-robed attendants, and the thousands of aboriginals all entered the first level in a single file. These are your identity tags. Everyone, get an identity token. Hurry up. The silver-clothed attendants gave out the tags. It was a completely black tag. He was still speaking. To join the Virtual Universe Company, there are 2 ways. 1 is to survive in Demon Mountain for a month. 2 is to kill the others and obtain 1,000 black tags or 1 red tag. The black token is the identity token that each of you receive. The red tags are the tags the majesties of the Virtual Universe Company bring with them. As long as you can kill one of them and obtain a red tag, not only can you join the Virtual Universe Company, you can also obtain treasures that even the Undyings value. These words only made the eyes of the thousands of aboriginals gleam. They weren't shocked. Because these rules had been passed down for countless years, they all knew. 2nd level of the palace. This is your identity token, Yang Kai said. The white-robed youth passed a red tag to Luo Feng, smiling. You have to remember, the moment you appear within 500 m of the aboriginals, the tags will resonate with each other and they will know you have a red tag. They will madly surround and attack you. I know. Luo Feng nodded. He had read the detailed introduction long ago. Killing himself, those aboriginals would be able to turn the tables. Of course they would risk their lives. Within Demon Mountain, those that can kill you are the aboriginals. The second is the beasts within Demon Mountain. The white-robed youth explained, of course, if they can kill you, you can kill them too. As long as you can collect 10,000 black tags, you will receive an additional reward. This is an additional reward outside of the mission. Additional reward. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. I didn't know about this. The white-robed youth smiled. Additional reward, it's much better than your mission points. Luo Feng's heart moved. However, I don't have the authority to tell you what the reward is. Once you really obtain 10,000 black command tokens, you'll be able to obtain that additional reward. Don't worry, the Virtual Universe Company's actions are extremely generous. The white-robed youth smiled. You only need 10,000 black tags to exchange for 1 time. If you have 20,000 black tags, you can exchange for 2 times. There's no upper limit. Luo Feng smiled and shook his head. Was it that easy? How many aboriginals had entered in total? Amongst those aboriginals, there were Sector Lord Pinnacles. This Demon Mountain mission wasn't easy at all. Demon Mountain, what was demon? Even though the threat of the aboriginals was huge, as long as he didn't want to collect 10,000 black tags and hide, the threat of the aboriginals was far from the threat of Demon Mountain itself. Demon Mountain, if you enter from the front, it's Demon Note Mountain. If you enter from the cave behind, it's Demon Mountain's Ice Mountain. The white-robed youth smiled. I believe Your Majesty Luo Feng knows the difference between the two. Please make your choice, which region of Demon Mountain to enter. Demon Mountain, 1 body with 2 sides. It could be split into Demon Note Mountain and Ice Mountain. The evolution of the universe caused the 2 special environments of Demon Mountain. It was actually the most terrifying part of Demon Mountain. Update complete, 2 more chapters today, 1 more tomorrow, including the normal updates, 3 chapters tomorrow. The monthly votes actually dropped to 7. Tomato's updates were indeed irregular before the wedding, inviting friends, wedding arrangements, transportation arrangements. There were many things to do, causing Tomato to update late from time to time. However, Tomato had been working hard to maintain the updates. Actually, including the missing chapters, the updates were quite a lot. Everyone please support Tomato. With the monthly votes, support Tomato. The monthly votes were really few. Chapter 567. Luo Feng smiled. This Demon Mountain was split into Demon Note Mountain and Ice Mountain, of which Ice Mountain, as the name suggests, was famed for its extreme coldness. The temperature was already inconceivably low. The so-called absolute zero was only a concept of Earth's technology. In the vast universe, temperatures even lower than absolute zero still existed. Just like the huge ice planet that Luo Feng's star continent revolved around in the absolute beginning region. Like an ice mountain, they were all extremely low temperatures, even able to harm a universe-level's body cells. The temperature within the ice mountain wasn't all the same. Some places could harm a universe level, while others could harm a domain lord or even a sector lord. Hence, if one were to randomly enter a terrifying cold region within the ice mountain, one's cells and genes could instantly freeze and collapse. Ice Mountain was mainly targeted at the body. Demon Note Mountain was targeted at the soul. Demon Note Mountain was vast and deep. The cold winds howled, occasionally accompanied by various sounds. Those sounds could be said to be natural illusions. If one wasn't careful, one would fall for it. Because different regions produced different sounds, the illusions were different. In some terrifying regions, many universe levels and even domain lords would instantly lose their consciousness and become zombies. I choose Demon Note Mountain, Luo Feng said. Demon Note Mountain? The white-robed youth was shocked, saying, Your Majesty Luo Feng, don't blame me for being nosy. This ancient demon mountain is one with two sides. Even though that ice mountain is dangerous, it only targets the body. Comparing the body and the soul, of course the soul is more fundamental. If one is hit in Ice Mountain, there's still a chance to struggle. However, in Demon Note Mountain, the moment one is hit, they'll immediately lose their consciousness. They won't even have a chance to struggle. No problem. Luo Feng smiled. Demon Note? Natural illusions? Just in terms of willpower, Luo Feng surpassed almost all Sector Lord pinnacle beings, even comparable to an Undying. The 80 years of killing aura training in Blood River World had made his willpower much stronger. Since that's the case, then I'll arrange for someone to send Your Majesty down. The white-robed youth bowed. Your Majesty Luo Feng, please remember to bring your identity tag when you leave. If you lose it, you'll fail the mission. I know this. Luo Feng nodded. Please wait a moment. The white-robed young man turned around and walked through the vast hall. His silhouette was like a bolt of lightning, and in the blink of an eye, he was far away. After a while, an oval-shaped ship that was about a 100 m long flew over and stopped right before Luo Feng. The cabin door opened and 3 white-robed people walked out, including the youth from before. Your Majesty Luo Feng, please. Yes. Luo Feng immediately took a step and entered the universe ship. Demon Mountain was majestic and tall. The universe ship was like a fly circling around the mountain. In the control room, with a glance, Luo Feng could see the occasional cave entrance on the majestic Demon Mountain. The cave entrance was filled with cold energy. Your Majesty Luo Feng, Demon Note Mountain occupies about half of Demon Mountain's area. With Demon Mountain's size and majesty, there are trillions of entrances to the depths of Demon Note Mountain. The white-robed youth pointed into the distance. In the distance, the demonic Note Mountain was densely packed with caves that ranged from several kilometers to hundreds of kilometers wide. Your Highness, you can choose anyone to enter. Fly for a while more. Luo Feng ordered. Yes. After flying for a while, the universe ship was far away from the canyon from before. Only then did Luo Feng choose a cave to enter. At the foot of Demon Mountain, there were many palaces, big and small. On the platform at the foot of the Frost Ice Mountain that was close to the Demon Mountain, there was a palace that was tens of thousands of kilometers tall. It was completely green and looked like an umbrella. Outside the palace stood a group of attendants dressed in green armor. These attendants were all so handsome that they could bring calamity to countries and people. Each of them had a green snake tail that was covered in dense scales. So, the universe ship that Luo Feng was in earlier immediately stopped before the palace. The cabin door opened and the white-robed youth flew to the entrance alone. His face was filled with respect as he stood outside the palace. Yi Chang, come in. A warm voice resounded. The white-robed youth seemed to be shocked. His pupils constricted, however on the surface he still revealed a respectful expression as he stepped into the strict shrine. The palace was huge and complex. The white-robed young man flew in the palace for a long time and finally came to a cold and gloomy palace. The cold palace was several miles wide and several miles high. There were no servants in the palace. There was only a suffocating figure sitting on a throne in the palace that was about 1 kilometer high. "Greetings, official Puyu." The white-robed youth bowed respectfully. He didn't dare to raise his head to look at the silhouette on the throne. "Luo Feng, you've entered?" A warm voice resounded. "Yes, Your Majesty, Luo Feng has just entered," the white-robed youth said. "He entered Demon Note Mountain. HM." The warm voice continued, "When Luo Feng comes out, tell him to come see me." "Yes." The white-robed youth bowed. "Yichang, you may leave," the warm voice said. "Yes." The white-robed youth didn't dare to say anything else. He quickly exited the hall and left the cold palace. When he exited the palace, the white-robed youth, Yichang, heaved a sigh of relief. "Marquis Puyu is a pervert. She is temperamental. It would be a great injustice if she killed me in a fit of anger. Luckily nothing happened today. Where there were benefits, there would be fights." The Virtual Universe Company was a huge leviathan in the universe. Of course there would be internal fights, however everything was suppressed by the management. However, for an existence like official Puyu, casually killing a sector lord wasn't a big deal. Luo Feng, Bolin and the others were respected everywhere, almost as though the Virtual Universe Company was a paradise. However, that was because Luo Feng and the others were geniuses, hence people respected them. And people like Yichang, who worked hard to reach the sector lord level, were still very careful. If one's position wasn't high enough, they could be killed at any time if a big boss was in a bad mood. Within the cold palace, high up in the throne, a tall silhouette slowly flew down and landed below the palace. She had a long jade-green snake tail that was more than 10 meters long, and her upper body was impeccably perfect. Her peerless beauty, especially under her long jade-green hair, was even more soul-stirring. Her pair of bewitching eyes looked out of the hall, as if she was looking at a place millions of light-years away. "Ha! Ha!" She suddenly let out a crazy laugh. "Ha ha ha ha! My chance has come." He muttered something in a low voice. Following which, chi, her body began to change rapidly. The jade-colored snake tail rapidly transformed into 2 bare legs. At the same time, the clothes on her body naturally extended, and she directly transformed into a peerlessly beautiful woman that was over 8 meters tall. "Let's collect some interest first. Killing him is only the first step," the absolute beauty muttered softly, after which her body flickered and vanished. A few minutes later, one of the 9 ancient planets around Demon Mountain was completely dark red. A ship swiftly entered. Within the planet, an ancient city that occupied an area of 10,000 kilometers. This was also the planet's top 3 ancient sect, the 1,000 Star Sect. Rumble, the elders of the 1,000 Star Sect all swiftly came out of their training grounds or rushed over from the surrounding training grounds. Within a few minutes, they all rushed into the shrine of the 1,000 Star Sect. Shrine? What was a shrine? Only with a god could a shrine be built. This 1,000-star sect currently had an undying being 1,000-star old man overseeing it. Why is the sect leader calling us so urgently? I don't know. Hurry up, the sect leader has never ordered us so urgently before. The sector lords and region lords all quickly rushed to the sacred ground of the 1,000-star sect, the shrine. On the throne of the majestic shrine sat a tall and beautiful woman, and below the throne respectfully stood an old man with a meter-long black horn on his forehead. He was the supreme sect leader of the 1,000-star sect, 1,000-star elder. Sect leader. Sect leader. The group of sector lords and domain lords all bowed respectfully. Master. The black-horned old man knelt respectfully, The closest sector lords and domain lords of our 1000-star sect have all arrived. A total of 6 sector lords and 53 domain lords. Master? Those sector lords and domain lords with black or silver-white horns were all stunned. The beautiful woman on the throne looked at the shrine door. A formless energy seemed to be pushing the door open. Rumble, the door automatically closed. This caused the sector lords and domain lords to feel even more nervous. They couldn't help but raise their heads to look at the beautiful silhouette on the throne. However, they couldn't see her face clearly. They only felt a formless pressure emanating from her, causing them to naturally feel fear. Those of you who have passed Demon Mountain, stand on the left. Those who haven't, stand on the right. The gentle voice resounded. It was as though they were being controlled. The 59 naturally moved to the side. 32 stood on the left and 27 on the right. The 6 of you stay. 6 jade-green lights descended from the skies, landing on 6 of the 27 sector lords and domain lords. Of these 6, 3 were sector lords and 3 were domain lord level 9. The rest can leave now. The door automatically opened. The other 53 sector lords and domain lords walked out like puppets, and the door closed once more. Outside the shrine. What happened? What happened just now? Didn't the sect leader summon us? Why did we come out? The sector lords and domain lords seemed to have woken up from a dream. They glanced at each other, unable to remember what had happened in the shrine. All of you return. Immediately. Do not have any questions. An old and furious voice rang out in the minds of the sector lords and domain lords. Yes, sect leader. The group of people immediately obeyed the order respectfully and dispersed in all directions. And in the shrine, the beautiful woman sat on the throne, observing the 3 sector lords and 3 domain lords below. It is my 1000-star sect's honor to serve Master. If Master has any orders, please give them. My 1000-star sect disciples will definitely complete them. The black-horned old man, 1000-star old man said respectfully. Chapter 568. The 3 sector lords and 3 domain lords were extremely nervous. They could tell that when the other warriors of the sect left earlier, their eyes were lifeless, almost like puppets. To be able to control sector lords without making a sound, and make the sect leader kneel down, willing to be a servant. This being before them was definitely an absolute being from the powerful virtual universe company. 1000-star, step down. The lady ordered. Yes. The black-horned old man left respectfully through the side door, leaving behind the beautiful lady and the 6 sector lords and domain lords. The 6 of you, look carefully. The lady's left hand pointed in mid-air in the shrine. Immediately a beam of light shot out, almost like a projection, forming a screen in mid-air. On the screen appeared the black-haired youth Luophone. He was dressed in a colorful armor, army pants and boot. On the screen was his exact height and stats. I need you to kill one person. It's the one on the screen, the lady said. Immediately the 6 below were filled with suspicion and apprehension. A great undying, someone even stronger than their sect leader, was asking them to kill someone. Just what kind of strength did this black-haired youth have? His strength is universe level 9. The lady's gentle voice resounded. Only universe level 9? The 6 below all relaxed. The 3 domain lords amongst them were all domain lord level 9. Killing a universe level 9 was like stepping on an ant, it was too easy. However, you can't underestimate him. The lady pointed at the screen. The armor he's wearing is an alloy armor, it's very normal, even though it's E9 grade hardness. However, this armor only protects a part of the body, it's not like the genetic energy armor that protects the entire body. But under his armor, there's a layer of close-fitting Cloud-Scraper Vine armor. Cloud Contact Vine? The 6 below were curious. Immediately a bunch of information appeared on the screen in mid-air. The lady continued, Cloud Contact Vine, a special support-type plant life form. It can be absorbed into one's skin, it can be an armor, it can be a whip, it can change into many forms, and it can constantly evolve. And his Cloud Contact Vine is Domain Lord Level 9. The Cloud Contact Vine is famous for its strength, its ability to change, and its life force. Its strength is generally much stronger than humans of the same level. So, the 3 Domain Lord Level 9 experts among you will probably be easily killed by the Cloud Contact Vine. The lady said. This instantly caused the other 3 region lords to be shocked. Miraculous! Pervert! They had never heard of any support plant life forms back at home. A universe level 9 using a plant life form was actually able to easily kill a domain lord level 9? This was too perverted. You 3 sector lords, the weakest is a level 5 sector lord, the strongest is a level 9 sector lord. As long as we encounter it, we can easily kill it with absolute strength. The beautiful woman said, As for you 3 region lords, if you encounter him, you'll be killed by him with your abilities. The 3 region lords listened nervously, not daring to interrupt. This is called a laser gun. The beautiful woman flipped her hand, and 3 mechanical weapons appeared in front of her. These 3 laser guns had muzzles that were about 1 meter in diameter, and they were about 3 meters long. The laser guns were silvery white in color, and there were no engravings on them. They were clearly machine-style weapons. E9 grade laser gun. The beautiful woman said slowly, It only needs 0.1 seconds to charge up, it's definitely a top-quality laser gun. One shot from this laser gun can pierce through E9 grade materials. It can kill a normal sector Lord level 9 warrior. The moment the woman's words landed, the expressions of the 6 below changed. The 6 of them stared at the laser gun passionately. Heavenly defying. This was insane. They weren't completely clueless about the vast universe. They knew that in the vast universe, one's strength spoke for everything. Even in the universe, a sector lord would have an extremely high privilege. How difficult was it to become a sector lord? Which one of the 6 of them hadn't gone through countless trials and tribulations? However, it was just a high-tech weapon. Even a weak person with this weapon, charging it for 0.1 seconds would be able to kill a sector lord level 9? Crazy. Such a high-tech weapon, amongst the many universe countries, was definitely a restricted weapon, and it was extremely expensive. The net worth of many sector lords added up was far from even a fraction of this E9 grade laser gun. These 3 E9 grade laser guns, even normal undyings wouldn't be able to bear to buy them. These 3 E9 grade laser guns, I'll temporarily give them to the 3 of you to use. The beautiful woman waved her hand, and the 3 E9 grade laser guns flew towards the 3 domain lords, floating in front of them. The 3 domain lords stared wide-eyed at the silver-white high-tech weapon in front of them. What beautiful lines! What heart-palpitating cannons! This thing, one shot, could kill a normal sector lord level 9? The 3 of you are weak, and you're all fighters. Even if you met this black-haired punk, he wouldn't care about you. The beautiful woman said, In his eyes, he can kill you in a short time. The 3 domain lords nodded. It's because he looks down on you, and doesn't value you. Hence, you have a chance. The beautiful woman said, With your strength, even if you meet the Cloud Contact Vine's attack, you should be able to last 0.1 seconds. As long as you charge up, you can instantly kill him. Understood. Yes. We can definitely kill him. The 3 domain lords replied excitedly. Their answers were all different. The 3 sector lords beside looked passionately at the 3 laser guns. The beautiful woman in the throne said coldly, The 3 of you sector lords, just relying on your own strength is enough. Remember the target's looks and clothing. Yes. The 6 replied respectfully. He's different from you. The beautiful woman said, His wealth isn't any less than your supreme elder's, hence he'll have all sorts of preparations. Or change his looks, or other things. Anyway, remember, the moment you meet a universe level 9, no matter what he looks like, just attack. If you find the Cloud Contact Vine's corpse, you'll be able to confirm that he's the target. If you meet a domain lord or sector lord, don't attack. Your target this time is him. The three of you remember this: if you meet a sector lord, flee. If he really chases you, use your laser guns to attack. If you meet a domain lord, immediately avoid him. If you meet a universe level, kill him. If you meet a cloud contact vine, then use your laser guns. Because your guns can at most fire 9 times, after 9 times, the energy will be depleted. Yes. The 6 of them replied respectfully. The 6 of them finally understood. Even though there were 3 sector lords and 3 domain lords, the great being before them had obviously placed her hopes on the 3 domain lords. That black-haired youth is really unlucky, actually causing a great undying to hold a grudge against him, and even set up such a vicious trap. However, who knows what his identity is? This great undying actually doesn't dare to personally kill him, leaving us to do it. Who cares? Anyways, killing within Demon Mountain is permitted by the Virtual Universe Company. The 6 of them were lost in their thoughts. If we succeed in killing him, the 6 of you including your 1,000 star sect, I'll reward all of you. The beautiful woman said, I hope the 6 of you don't disappoint me. You should know what the consequences of doing so are. The beautiful woman's slender fingers gently caressed the throne's armrest, causing it to immediately crumble. The 6 of them were shocked. We will definitely complete this mission with our lives, the 6 of them said respectfully. The beautiful woman nodded. Within the majestic, continuous Demon Mountain, the deep and vast cave walls were slightly black, however the surface of the rocks had a layer of ice. Whether it was the walls or the ground, they were all covered in a layer of ice. The formless cold energy made Luo Feng, who was walking within the cave, crease his eyebrows. The cold energy pierced through the cloud contact armor and pierced his skin. This is Demon Note Mountain, it's already so cold. That ice mountain must be even more exaggerated. Luo Feng gently took a deep breath, feeling countless amounts of cold energy enter his abdomen. In an instant, his organs felt numb. It's really cold. Luo Feng suddenly stopped. The cave was about 10 kilometers high and 80 kilometers wide. It was so big that a city could be built in it. So many tunnels? Luo Feng gazed ahead. There were many large and small caves, extending into hundreds of tunnels. How? Gusts of wind whistled through the passageways, like the wailing of ghosts and the howling of wolves. The wailing of ghosts and the howling of wolves faintly produced a strange sound that was sometimes extremely high-pitched and sometimes extremely low. The formless sound directly poured into Luo Feng's consciousness and soul, nourishing and quietly bewitching his soul. This bit of hypnosis, and you dare to come before me, humph. Within his consciousness, Luo Feng's willpower that was as sharp as a blade, immediately condensed countless consciousness into a blade. The blade was cold and penetrating, and incomparably condensed. Any hypnosis that dared to get close would be destroyed. This was Luo Feng's willpower after 80 years of training in the endless killing aura of Blood River World. He had reached his limit and reached an incomparably terrifying level. His second brother Thunder God thought Luo Feng was too extreme. Luo Feng was extreme, and he had always been extreme. It was absolutely cold like a mirror, and absolutely sharp like a blade. There was no compromise at all. Demon Note Mountain, different regions have different hypnosis abilities. Some are strong, some are weak. The moment one falls for it, they'll become zombies, without even a chance to struggle. I can't be careless. Demon Note Mountain still has the aboriginals and the beasts within. I'll follow my previous arrangements. Luo Feng stood on the ice layer and swiftly took off his colored armor, army pants and boot. Simultaneously, he took out the armor he had prepared for this impossible level adventure. The entire armor was silver in color, completely made according to the armor commonly seen in 9-star ocean. The material was F-grade metal. Maybe using F-grade metal to build a universe ship like the UNMO planet ship was something Luo Feng couldn't afford. However, just the amount of metal needed to create an armor wasn't a problem for the current Luo Feng. This is the impossible level, and not the dangerous level from before. That colored armor is obviously not enough. Luo Feng immediately put on the silver armor and arm guard, simultaneously keeping the screen in his storage ring. Simultaneously, he contacted the Cloud Contact Vine, letting the Cloud Contact armor grow a pair of black horns on his forehead. Immediately, 2 dark red horns extended from his forehead, after which the color changed and became black. Black horns. A simple and unadorned silver battle armor. On his back was a black blade. His entire barbaric aura rose greatly. Very good. Even though the aboriginals kill each other, the intensity isn't that exaggerated. The moment my identity as a majesty is revealed, I'll really go crazy. This red tag is very dangerous too, it's a hot potato. Luo Feng's thoughts moved, keeping the red tag in his storage ring. When I return, I'll have to get a black tag on me. Disguise, I have to disguise myself well. Luo Feng was very clear. Only by disguising himself as one of the natives would he be able to take advantage of the situation. The danger level would be drastically reduced. So, Luo Feng randomly chose one of the hundreds of tunnels and entered it, heading deeper into Demon Note Mountain. P.S. Second chapter has arrived, continue writing the third. Chapter 569. When Luo Feng entered Demon Note Mountain, the thousands of aboriginals were still lining up to receive their tags, after which they would either head to Demon Note Mountain or Ice Mountain. And they all had to enter from the 10,000 caves. So, a disc-shaped light purple ship flew into the canyon of Demon Mountain, following which the cabin door opened and 6 silhouettes flew out and kept the ship. These 6 were the 6 warriors that official Pu Yu had arranged for the 1,000 Star Sect. The leader of the 1,000 Star Sect was after all an Undying, and was considered a core member of the Virtual Universe Company, and had roamed the vast universe before. Hence the Domain Lords and Sector Lords of the 1,000 Star Sect all had universe ships. Normal universe ships were very cheap. Of course, the Domain Lords didn't have a large enough storage ring to store the universe ships, while the Sector Lords could store them in their internal worlds. Look, so many people are still lining up, getting their tags one by one. 1 second, thousands of people would still need 1 to 2 hours. Don't get careless, we have to hurry, we can't miss this time. If we miss this, we'll have to wait for another 10,000 people to gather before we can enter. The 6 immediately flew towards the distant palace. Official Pu Yu took only a few minutes to reach the 1,000 Star Sect. Giving the order also took a few minutes. They took about 10 minutes to arrive in the ship too. At this time, only a small half of the thousands of aboriginals had gotten their tags. As for the tags, the Virtual Universe Company's workers wouldn't be very efficient with these aboriginals. An hour later. Go to Demon Note Mountain. According to the god's orders, the 6 of us will split up, that way it'll be easier to meet the target. We'll split up here. The 6 followed the same path and entered, reaching a fork in the road. They immediately split up and followed 6 different paths, heading forward. Actually, the majority of those entering Demon Note Mountain were universe levels. There were very few Domain Lords and even fewer Sector Lords. Hence the weakest of the 6 were Domain Lord level 9. The true danger in Demon Note Mountain was the Demon Note and the beasts. The other aboriginals were of little threat to them, unless their luck was extremely bad, and they met very few Sector Lords in the vast Demon Note Mountain. A young martial artist with a long black horn was carefully traversing through the vast and deep cavern passages. The countless cavern passages were intertwined with each other. Yang! Wu! Every time he heard a demon note, Luo Feng would immediately slow down and stop, not daring to increase his speed. He was afraid that he would enter the area where the demon notes were extremely powerful. Even though he was confident in himself, he knew that he couldn't act rashly. Luo Feng, there's a domain lord level 3 fighter 18. 2 kilometers ahead of you. Babata's voice resounded in Luo Feng's consciousness. It's in the pathway I'm on? Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. In the Demon Note Mountain, apart from his 3 clones and the Cloud Contact Vine, he also had Babata to rely on. Babata had an extremely high-end detection device. The range was only 20 kilometers. Although the range was small, the effect was extremely strong. Even world overlords wouldn't be able to discover it. This detector was an expensive one bought by the owner of the Yunmo planet, Hu Yenbo. Even Luo Feng doesn't have enough cash to buy such a high-end machine. Of course, the range was only 20 kilometers and was suitable for special regions such as universe secret regions. For example, the Demonic Note Mountain was more suitable. Approaching rapidly 8 kilometers. 9 kilometers. Babata informed. I see him. Luo Feng looked ahead. The path wasn't completely straight, so Luo Feng only saw the sneaky short fighter when he was around 10 kilometers away. He could even clearly see the black hair on the short fighter's skin. This fighter's eyes were cold as he carefully moved forward. When he saw Luo Feng, he slightly stopped, but immediately after, he snarled and charged over. Universe level 9. Haha! The short warrior laughed. His body flickered twice and he rushed before Luo Feng. In his hand was a dark red axe. The axe had complicated engravings on it. Luo Feng shook his head. Clang! He immediately drew his blade. Slash! The Cloud Contact Vine on his body naturally exploded with a portion of the Domain Lord level 9 Cloud Contact Vine's strength. Just this portion of strength alone was more exaggerated than a normal Domain Lord level 9 human martial artist. The air violently trembled and compressed. The blood shadow blade with unbelievable speed slashed against the short warrior's axe. Rumble! Like using a huge hammer to smash an ant, the short warrior stared wide-eyed in shock. The axe in his hand was immediately smashed back onto his body. The thick back of the axe immediately caused his body to explode. His bones and flesh pierced out of his armor and fresh blood splattered. Rumble! The entire ground shook violently, and the layer of ice on the surface of the rocks on the ground directly exploded, spreading out in all directions with cracking sounds. Those cracks on the layer of ice extended for over 10 kilometers. Actually, I didn't even want to kill you. Luo Feng swiftly retrieved the 2 black tags from the dead fighter's storage space belt. This was already the 19th black tag Luo Feng had collected. You just happened to block my path and even tried to kill me. If I don't kill you, who should I kill? Luo Feng kept the black tags and swiftly advanced again. The 10,000 black tags had an additional reward. That was right. However, the higher the reward, the harder it was. As long as he survived for 3 years in Demon Note Mountain, he would have completed the first mission of surviving for 3 months and the second mission of surviving for 3 years. When that time came, he would get 400,000 points. These 10,000 black tags were even better than 400,000 points. The difficulty was obvious. Every batch only has 10,000 people, and they kill each other. Some of them die in some dangerous areas. Some may even escape early on. Most of the tags end up in the Sector Lord's hands. To collect 10,000 black tags, with my current strength, it's indeed an impossible mission. Luo Feng was very clear. He looked down at the dead warrior on the ground and shook his head. My mission is to survive for 3 years. I don't want to kill. However, whoever blocks me, I can only kill them. Luo Feng continued forward, leaving behind the corpse in the shattered ice layer. The extreme low temperature caused the fresh blood to freeze. The shattered ice layer swiftly began to solidify under the low temperature. Not long later, everything would return to normal. Demon Note Mountain was huge. It took up about half of Demon Mountain's area, and the base of Demon Mountain was a shocking 320 million kilometers wide. Its height was a shocking 180 million kilometers. Along with the countless tunnels that intersected with each other like a maze, Luo Feng's cautiousness allowed him to travel 100,000 kilometers a day. Even if he traveled for 3 years, he would probably only reach a portion of Demon Note Mountain. Cautiousness. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, in the blink of an eye, 9 days had passed. In these 9 days, Luo Feng used Babata's scanning to discover a sector lord. He immediately turned and left. This was also the only time he got close to a sector lord. Other times, he met domain lords and large amounts of universe levels. As they didn't trust each other, Luo Feng didn't want to flee and be chased. Hence, he could only kill those that came to kill him. In 9 days, he collected 112 black tags. My luck is not bad. In these 9 days, I actually didn't meet any terrifying beasts in Demon Mountain. Luo Feng walked in a wide revolving tunnel. Babata maintained his scanning mode. Luo Feng, according to the demon notes you've encountered these past 2 days, you should be in a more dangerous region. The demon notes are obviously stronger. I guess that there should be an extremely dangerous region around here. Babata, according to the information the Virtual Universe Company gave me, the Demon Note region's danger is unpredictable. It seems extremely safe, but suddenly there's an extremely dangerous region. There's no need to predict. Luo Feng communicated mentally. Simultaneously, he carefully observed the distance. He couldn't completely rely on the scanning device, as the tunnel's visibility was over 20 kilometers. The scanning range of the device was only 20 kilometers. It was very likely that the device didn't discover the enemy, but the enemy had already seen him. Luo Feng, there are 3 domain lords 6 kilometers to your left. 6 kilometers? Luo Feng was shocked. He looked to his left. Not far away was a stone wall. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. Which means they're in another tunnel. Babata said. The other tunnel has no danger. Why did you inform me? Luo Feng shook his head. Their conversation, I think, is more important to you. Babata said. Luo Feng thought. With a flip of his hand, a small screen appeared. Send me the video of the scene you've scanned. Luo Feng said. It's been sent. The small screen in Luo Feng's palm immediately displayed an image. There was an old man, a middle-aged man, and a youth on the same ice layer. These 3 were excitedly staring at the 8 thick books before them. It's the Phoenix Sect's secret technique. The one who died must be the upper echelon of the Phoenix Sect. Teacher, there's actually someone who killed someone and didn't even take the treasure with him. Haha. You're wrong, it's not a human who killed him. It's a beast. Look, the dents on the corpse's armor, it's obviously from a huge claw strike. Teacher, the youth smiled. We've obtained the Phoenix Sect's secret technique here. Does that count as another form of inheritance? Don't compare this technique to the inheritance. The old man shouted. The Phoenix Sect's technique is indeed very precious. However, this inheritance forbidden land is called Demon Mountain by the Virtual Universe Company, and they even send many powerful beings there. And I've heard that the Virtual Universe Company would occasionally send some undyings to explore Demon Mountain, just to obtain the inheritance of the Forbidden Land. Ah! Undyings coming to accept the inheritance? The 2 beside were shocked. Luo Feng, who was looking at the screen, was shocked too. You don't know about this, this is a secret of our 9-star ocean. The old man said, Inheritance Forbidden Land, why is it called that? Because this ancient god mountain exists for the sake of the inheritance. Its existence is incredibly long, it can be traced back to 9-star ocean's history. It can be traced back to before the Virtual Universe Company controlled Demon Mountain. Anyway, this inheritance Forbidden Land has an inheritance that even the Virtual Universe Company covets. How strong is the Virtual Universe Company? That shouldn't be possible. The 2 disciples couldn't believe it. Cough. The old man coughed twice, snorting softly. The Virtual Universe Company is an absolute leviathan in the universe. It's very strong. However, they often arrange for powerful beings and undyings to enter to try and obtain the inheritance. This is the truth. This is our 9-star ocean's most ancient inheritance. Whoever obtains it would truly rise to the skies. Luo Feng looked at the teacher and disciple's conversation. Very quickly, the video ended. Luo Feng frowned. Inheritance? Demon Mountain? Inheritance Forbidden Land? Asterisk 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 300 was over. He suddenly thought of something. Last year today, this night was the ending of 9 Cauldrons. Tomato had put a lot of thought into this book, and was very satisfied with it. If you haven't read it, you can go take a look. It was Monday now. I'll pull up the recommendation votes. Everyone please vote for Tomato today. If you have a monthly vote, please vote for him too. The monthly votes almost made it back to 3rd place. Chapter 570. Demon Mountain actually has an inheritance that even the Virtual Universe Company covets? Luo Feng pondered. Demon Mountain's history was incomparably long, even before the Virtual Universe Company took control of the Absolute Beginning region. Hence, such a naturally formed Demon Mountain, if it had an inheritance, then it would definitely be extraordinary. Letting the Undyings go in was very normal. However, was there really an inheritance? Luo Feng frowned. It's very possible. The 9-star ocean aboriginals call Demon Mountain the inheritance forbidden land for trillions of years. They definitely wouldn't call it that for no reason. There has to be a reason. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. And the old man Babata scanned so confidently, saying that undyings frequently enter. There has to be some truth behind it. Undyings entering, what do they do? To be able to attract undyings, it probably isn't a normal treasure. That old man said that the Virtual Universe Company frequently arranges for the higher beings and undyings to enter. I'm afraid it's because he thinks that I and the others are higher beings. They probably don't know that we're on a training mission. Luo Feng smiled. Suddenly he was stunned. Not right. Luo Feng's eyes stared wide, his eyes gleaming with a terrifying light. Training mission? Wrong. 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 Luo Feng's mind flashed, immediately guessing a few secret. The onlooker sees more clearly than the person involved. This sentence is indeed correct. We who are on a training mission don't understand at all. However, the aboriginals have probably seen the truth. Training mission? If it's purely for adventure, the Virtual Universe Company can totally create an adventure environment for the geniuses to do so. Is there a need to send us to some faraway secret region or some naturally formed mysterious place to adventure? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. I'm afraid the training mission is just one aspect. The more important thing is to give us a chance to improve by leaps and bounds. From the Blood River World mission, I can see the Virtual Universe Company's way of thinking. Blood River World's Blood River Crystal is a forbidden item, however. The Virtual Universe Company still lets us enter to do the training mission. Why? It's to let us have the chance to absorb the crystal. Our strength and comprehension etc. will all rise. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Right, that's it. The training mission isn't just training. There are probably some special opportunities waiting for us geniuses. Luo Feng squinted. In his mind, he recalled the few dangerous quests he had experienced before. The first time was during the Blood River World mission, where he had obtained a huge fortune and gained a huge advantage. However, very obviously, this opportunity was given by the Virtual Universe Company. The second time was the Dragon Pagoda Planet mission. Back then, when he was hunting dragons, he found that the Dragon Pagoda Planet was very strange. There were too many dragons born on the Dragon Pagoda Planet, and they were all extremely powerful. It was inconceivable for an ancient planet to give birth to so many powerful dragons. And the holy land of the Dragon Pagoda Planet was a towering pagoda, also known as the Dragon Pagoda. However, there were too many powerful dragons around the Dragon Pagoda. Back then, he only wanted to complete his mission and did not recklessly charge in. The third Void Cliff mission, the Void Cliff, was an endless cliff that floated in space. Between the cliff and the abyss, there were peculiar thick chains. The Void Cliff was simply too peculiar. Luo Feng was extremely cautious back then. He only dove a few thousand km deep into the abyss, and after collecting the mission items, he immediately fled. 5 dangerous level missions. This 6th was an impossible level mission. This impossible level mission was even simpler. There were 2 missions. The first was to survive for 3 months, 100,000 points. The second was to survive for 3 years, 300,000 points. These places, none of them are simple. Just to test and train people, with the virtual universe company's almost omnipotent abilities, they can easily create dangerous environments. There's no need to spend so much effort to send people to these dangerous secret areas. And like the Blood River Crystal, these are forbidden items. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. I think these places all have their own secrets, and these secrets, some of them are probably very beneficial to us. What was the goal of the Virtual Universe Company? Training and training. These dangerous areas had some opportunities within them, which were actually the true hidden rewards of the training missions. Right. It should be like that. Otherwise, there's no need for us to forcefully enter these dangerous areas just to train. There's no need for that. For us to go to Blood River World, there's probably a hope that we can become a Blood Warrior or even a Black Warrior. For us to go to Dragon Pagoda Planet or the Void Cliff, there's probably some hope too. For the absolute geniuses to enter Demon Mountain, there's probably a hidden hope that we can obtain the inheritance of the forbidden areas. Luo Feng nodded. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that it should be like that. This was the correct way to train geniuses. While training, it also gave them opportunities. Whether it's becoming a Black Warrior or obtaining the inheritance of the forbidden areas, it'll probably be very difficult. Otherwise, within the trillion years of Demon Mountain in 9-Star Ocean, there would have been tales of geniuses obtaining the inheritance long ago. The Virtual Universe Company wouldn't have to send in a few undyings then. Luo Feng nodded within. This ancient Demon Mountain most likely had an inheritance, and obtaining it was extremely difficult. The Virtual Universe Company only gave the geniuses a chance to obtain it. Right. Definitely. Outside Blood River World is the Tianshi Palace, with a powerful being like the Tianshi Palace leader stationed there. That Void Cliff also has many undyings training hard on it. There are large amounts of Sector Lords and undyings stationed at the foot of Demon Mountain too. Just by looking at the majestic palaces, one can tell how many undyings there are. Luo Feng nodded within. There's no big secret. If it's just a training ground, what's the point of arranging so many undyings? Luo Feng stood on the ice boulder and pondered. The more he thought, the more certain he was, his face filled with excitement. Luo Feng, 19. 6 kilometers ahead of you, there's a 39 tall bear that looks like Earth's bear. It's a completely silver-white beast. It's getting closer. Babata's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. HM? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Looking ahead carefully, in the distance he saw a simple and honest silver-white bear. This bear's eyes were silver-white, its entire body almost like it was carved out of silver-white ice. It was walking slowly. Beast, a beast that's on par with the demon notes in Demon Mountain. Beasts were special life forms that naturally formed in Demon Mountain. They were formed from the ice-cold energy of Demon Mountain. They had very simple consciousness. In terms of intelligence, they probably couldn't even compare to the cats and dogs of Earth. One could say they were extremely stupid. However, because they were incredibly stupid, the beasts only knew one thing. As long as they discovered a non-beast life form, they would immediately attack. Any scheme would be ineffective against their extremely simple consciousness. From the energy it emits, its strength is comparable to a universe level 3. Babata's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. Howl! That silver-white bear looked at Luo Feng and immediately let out an excited howl, before rushing over. So. His speed was extremely fast. With just a blurry afterimage, he charged in front of Luo Feng. Such a cute beast! Luo Feng pulled out his blood shadow blade, and in an instant, he flashed past the bear, simultaneously slicing through its head. Chi! A chunk of its head was sliced off. The hard ice chunk flew and smashed into the boulder beside, emitting a clear clang. However, the beast didn't stop at all. It continued to howl, continuously attacking Luo Feng. Chi! His blade flashed again and again. Luo Feng injured the bear time and again. Finally, the entire beast was sliced into pieces and countless ice shards fell on the ground. What a special life form! Its entire body is made of hard ice. Even though I've sliced it into pieces, its simple consciousness still hasn't dissipated. Luo Feng was shocked as he looked at the countless ice shards on the ground. These shards were slowly closing in, 2 ice shards swiftly fused when they touched. The information said that beasts don't die. So that's the reason. Luo Feng shook his head and swiftly left. He didn't have the patience to fight a beast with a consciousness that was even simpler than a cat or dog. His luck this time was good. The beasts he met were weaker. The beasts in Demon Mountain were at the pinnacle of Sector Lord, and some of them often appeared in groups. In a crystal-clear deep ice tunnel, there was a lean man wearing black armor and a black horn. His eyes were faintly burning with flames. He walked forward as if he was taking a stroll in the park. At the same time, an invisible world force spread out and searched the surrounding area of 1,000 kilometers. His eyes gleamed. So. He immediately became a beam of light. With his Sector Lord level 6 strength, he almost instantly followed the winding tunnel and rushed to 1,000 kilometers away. 1,000 kilometers away, a Domain Lord level 8 old man and a Universe level 9 youth were carefully advancing. They were even discussing softly, "Grandfather, we just need to persevere for 2 more days and it'll be a month. When that time comes, we'll be able to join the Virtual Universe Company." "Who is it?" The grandfather and grandson immediately saw a beam of light attack them. Their expressions changed and they immediately tried to flee. Rumble! A scorching flame spread out fiercely, burning the surrounding few kilometers. That Domain Lord level 8 old man and the Universe level 9 youth were immediately burnt to death. The black-horned skinny man, his burning eyes gazed at the surroundings of the Universe level 9 youth's corpse. "There's no cloud contact vine remains?" After which he waved with one hand and took the space bracer and storage ring into his hands. He carefully inspected them. "There's no red tag either." "Humph! This Universe level 9 isn't the target the God Leader is looking for." The black-horned skinny man shook his head. "Not only did we not find the target, we even have over 1,000 black tags." "Continue." The black-horned skinny man continued to search, using his world energy to search the surrounding 1,000 kilometers area. P.S. Chapter 1 here. Chapter 571. The cold wind howled through the vast ice tunnels. Luo Feng endured the wind and the cold, moving forward step by step like lightning. Yow! See. The wind mixed with a peculiar sound. Some were so high that one couldn't even hear it. However, it permeated into Luo Feng's consciousness, that hypnotism soundlessly grew stronger and weaker along with the sound of the wind. Luo Feng's gaze was sharp, moving forward step by step, not at all affected by it. Rumble! Almost as though his blade, like pure willpower, was penetrated by the formless sound waves, causing his entire body to tremble. Luo Feng's body trembled, his expression changed. "That's terrifying, I wasn't even on guard at all, and this hypnotism sound's power actually rose by a few hundred times." Luo Feng was shocked within, the sound of the wind mixed with each other, in an instant before it formed an extremely strong overlay effect, causing Luo Feng's strong willpower to tremble for a moment. The true threat usually comes suddenly from a seemingly safe environment. Indeed, a demon note. Luo Feng squinted, after which he continued forward. After a few thousand km, he arrived at a crystal-clear ice world. Countless layers of ice covered the rock layers, forming vast and beautiful caves. Outside these caves were naturally formed ice patterns. It was very beautiful. A total of 816 caves. Which one should I enter? Luo Feng's gaze swept, suddenly landing on a distant octagonal deep cave. He could feel that this octagonal deep cave entrance was a little special. This one. Completely relying on his instincts, Luo Feng swiftly entered this cave. At the intersection of these 817 caves, occasionally an aboriginal warrior would appear from one cave and enter another unknown cave. Half an hour later, the black-horned skinny man walked out from one of the caves, looking at the other 816 caves. He couldn't help but frown. So many caves? The black-horned skinny man's gaze landed on the octagonal cave entrance. This cave doesn't feel normal, let's go in and take a look. So, with a single step, he had already stepped into the deep cave. The deep cave was about 12 kilometers wide and had different height. The ice layers were either hanging upside down like spears above the cave or carved into the rock walls in all kinds of strange shape. As the black-horned skinny man walked, his world force spread out over 1,000 kilometers. Region Lord Level 8? The lean man frowned slightly, and his body instantly blurred. At the same time, he traversed thousands of kilometers in pursuit. Seeing the figure rushing over from afar, a bearded, silver-white-horned middle-aged man who was fleeing at top speed turned his head to look. His expression instantly changed, and he shouted, "Master of the Flame World, I'm from the Star Conglomerate sect." Boom! Flames erupted, instantly turning everything within a few li into a sea of fire. The Eighth Order Domain Lord was instantly burned to death. "Since you know I'm Wu Qi, you shouldn't be alive." The black-horned skinny man snorted coldly. "It doesn't matter if we can kill the target this time or not. In the end, I will still deliberately not take out the token and pretend that I failed the Devil Mountain and returned to the sect. I'm a sector lord. I don't want to go to the Virtual Universe Company and be ordered around by others." These represented the two different viewpoints of the 9-star Ocean Warriors. The first was to become a strong warrior and join the Virtual Universe Company to explore the vast universe. Most of the warriors weren't willing to just stay in 9-star Ocean. The second was to be high up in 9-star Ocean, not wanting to join the Virtual Universe Company, and be at the bottom, not wanting to be ordered around. And the Flame Sector Lord Wu Qi was the second. There are quite a lot of black tags. There's actually a total of 726 of them. The black-horned skinny man shook his head. "I didn't expect to get so many at first, but in the blink of an eye I've already gotten over 2,000. Continuing forward. He leisurely proceeded forward, however in reality he was extremely cautious. To him, the most dangerous thing in Demon Mountain was the Demon Note. The legendary terrifying Demon Note was something even many Sector Lord Pinnacle warriors couldn't withstand, instantly losing themselves and becoming walking corpses. Half an hour later. Universe Level 9? The black-horned skinny man's eyes gleamed. He had been maintaining a 1,000 kilometers area of world energy scanning for a new target. I hope it's the target. The Sector Lord Wu Qi, who had already failed over 100 times, thought. So, he immediately rushed towards the target. About 1,000 kilometers away from the black-horned skinny man, within the same wide and deep pathway, Luo Feng was constantly advancing. Hua! The world energy swept past. Luo Feng didn't even feel it, continuing to advance. Luo Feng. World energy just swept past. Babata's voice resounded fiercely within Luo Feng's consciousness. What? Luo Feng was shocked. Hurry and leave. Luo Feng immediately unleashed his movement, immediately becoming a blur and fleeing into the distance. His speed was extremely fast. Even though he was fleeing, Luo Feng wasn't too nervous. Because these few days in Demon Mountain, he had indeed discovered sector lords from afar, and he had fled long before. And sector lords usually didn't care about chasing a universe-level punk, hence he hadn't encountered any danger. It's probably the same as before, as long as I keep a distance I'll be fine. Luo Feng thought. Luo Feng, he's not even 20 kilometers away from you. Babata screamed, he's here, he's catching up. Luo Feng turned fiercely. Rumble. With his naked eye, he could see the distant black-horned skinny man that had become a fiery red beam of light. That man was staring at Luo Feng. His killing intent was extremely obvious. Damn, a sector lord has to chase after a universe level? Luo Feng gritted his teeth. Schwa. Switching with the Masha clansmen in his internal world, Luo Feng had long prepared for any dangerous situations. Hence, when he entered Demon Mountain, the Masha clansman in his internal world had already become exactly the same as his earth body, with the same long black horn and silver armor. And even the life energy of the Masha clansman was exactly the same as his earth body. Obviously he relied on his natural ability to copy. Because even if it was the same soul, different clansmen, due to their different life forms, the energy would still be different, hence he had to rely on his natural ability to copy. So, the Masha clansman immediately unleashed the illusionary techniques, his speed exploding. Life or death moment. He couldn't care about anything else. The black-horned skinny man, Sector Lord Wu Qi, as usual, leisurely chased after the Universe Level 9 youth. Anyway, he killed without mercy. Ah! He actually discovered me, he's actually fleeing. It's a pity his speed is too slow. Sector Lord Wu Qi excitedly chased. His casual speed was much faster than Luo Feng's Earth body's maximum speed. Very quickly, the distance between the two shrunk to 20 kilometers. The two could see each other with a glance. At this time, Luo Feng immediately switched bodies. He seems to have undergone some changes. Sector Lord Wu Qi thought. As Luo Feng switched bodies almost instantaneously, plus his appearance, clothing and life energy were all exactly the same. Even though this Sector Lord Wu Qi could faintly feel some changes in that instant, he didn't notice at all. The Luo Feng he was observing had instantly switched bodies. Masha clansman. Full speed explosion. Maybe in terms of maximum speed, the Masha clansman couldn't compare to the Sector Lord Level 6 Wu Qi. However, in terms of instantaneous explosive speed, Masha Luo Feng definitely far surpassed Wu Qi. So, in an instant, Masha Luo Feng had already fled 1,000 kilometers away, completely disappearing from Wu Qi's world energy scanning range. What? That fast? Wu Qi's expression changed. How can a universe level 9 be that fast? At least there's no such person in 9-star ocean. To be able to reach such a shocking speed, he must have used some special method. He's probably the God Lord's target. Wu Qi had already killed many universe level 9s, but he'd never met such a peculiar one. Firstly, he noticed him early, and secondly, he ran too quickly. This made Wu Qi realize he had very likely met the target. Chase. Rumble. Sector Lord Wu Qi became a beam of light and swiftly chased along the vast stone pathway. Simultaneously his world energy madly expanded, reaching 10,000 kilometers in area. Immediately, he once again sensed the distant silhouette fleeing. However, this pathway wasn't a straight line, but a winding one, hence Sector Lord Wu Qi couldn't keep accelerating. Just like the 100m race before Earth's nirvana, if one ran in a straight line, they might be able to make it within 10 seconds. However, if it was an S-shaped track, the 100m track would twist and turn 10 times, they wouldn't be able to reach their maximum speed. One theory. Sector Lord Wu Qi and Masha Luo Feng both instantly accelerated, decelerated, turned etc. Under such an environment, the Masha clansman, who had extremely high comprehension of the space laws and was the darling of the universe space laws, displayed its greatest advantage, instant explosive speed. Xiao! 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 With 3 flashes, he vanished from Sector Lord Wu Qi's 10,000 kilometers world energy scanning area. Luckily the pathway is winding, otherwise I'd have to use the golden horned beast. Masha Luo Feng thought as he fled. Through Babata's scanning, he could deduce that the opponent was Sector Lord Level 6. Back in Blood River World, the Masha clansman had killed Si Yong with Domain Lord Level 9 strength. Si Yong was Sector Lord Level 5. However, the battle techniques of Blood River World were very normal, and those spirit weapons were very normal too. Because Blood River World and the Virtual Universe Company were considered enemies. However, 9-Star Ocean was different. 9-Star Ocean was actually ruled over. Those 9 ancient planets had many sects, undyings and ships. Hence, in terms of techniques and weapons, 9-Star Ocean was much higher than Blood River World. Masha clansmen, killing Si Yong, both were extremely dangerous. And this punk, Sector Lord Level 6, with undyings to teach him, in terms of techniques and origin law comprehension, he's probably stronger than Si Yong. Plus his own energy is double that of Si Yong. Unless I use the golden horned beast, otherwise there's no hope. Masha Luo Feng flashed again and again, fleeing into the distance. At this extreme speed, within a minute, he had rushed out of the vast pathway. Rumble! Luo Feng, who was fleeing at his limit, fiercely slowed down. He stared wide and looked ahead. It was an incomparably vast ice forest. There were beasts that were 10 m tall, even 100 m, even 1,000 m tall. The smaller ones were only half a meter long, and they could be seen everywhere. With a glance, there were at least thousands of beasts, of which a few had extremely powerful auras, even more terrifying than the sector lords chasing him. Thousands of beasts all turned to look at him simultaneously. Howl, howl! Luo Feng stared wide-eyed, not daring to advance nor retreat, cursing within. I'm really unlucky. I've long felt that this octagonal tunnel wasn't normal. It's really not normal, giving me thousands of beasts at once. P.S. 2 chapters have been updated. Chapter 572. The scenery of the vast ice forest was beautiful. All kinds of black rocks and ice formed a unique scenery. And in this vast ice forest, there lived a group of extremely stupid but terrifying phantom beasts. Some were big, some were small, and according to their strength, they naturally formed their own territories. This was purely subconscious. These thousands of beasts, the weakest were universe level, the strongest were sector lord pinnacle. Of which there were sector lord level beasts, Luo Feng estimated that there were 12 of them. And sector lord pinnacle level 9 beasts were the 3 with the most majestic auras. One of them was 2 kilometers long, almost like a huge lizard. Its body was made of ice and the scales could be seen clearly. There was also a humanoid beast that was about 800 meters tall. It looked like a giant mechanical puppet. The last one was a ferocious bird-type phantom beast with 6 pairs of icy wings. These 3 pinnacle sector lord phantasmal beasts each occupied 3 regions of the ice forest. There were large groups of phantasmal beasts gathered around them. There's a pack of wolves ahead, and a tiger behind. What do I do? Luo Feng fiercely slowed, raging. Howl, howl! With a glance in the vast 1,000 kilometers area, most of the thousands of beasts were stunned as they turned to look at Luo Feng. Without hesitation, the hundreds closest to the cave began to roar, simultaneously flying, sprinting, flashing, almost like 10,000 horses galloping towards Luo Feng. Kill! Kill all beings that weren't beasts. These beasts' consciousness were extremely simple, however it gave countless demon mountain challengers headaches. There was no way to make them not attack humans. Also, Beasts were a special life form, they had no souls, even if they were cut into thousands of pieces, they would still be ice cubes. However, these special ice cubes were infused with their own consciousness, no one knew what this consciousness carried, soul attacks were useless against them. Rumble, hundreds of different types of beasts charged at the same time, the ice forest shook, some of the ice layers were smashed apart. Damn! Luo Feng stared wide-eyed, gritting his teeth. I'll risk it all. So. He turned into a stream of light and directly collided with the group of illusionary beasts. As Luo Feng's own energy level wasn't that strong, of the hundreds of beasts that were attracted over, the strongest was a Sector Lord level 1 or 2, the rest were Domain Lord and Universe level beasts. And as Luo Feng became a beam of light and rushed towards the beasts, the Masha clansman's advantage, speed, exploded. Boom! Luo Feng clashed with a clawed Universe level 8 or 9 beast with an energy level. Sorry. Luo Feng wielded the blood shadow blade and stabbed furiously at the 4 hooves armored beast before him. Domain Lord level 9 and Universe level 8 level 9. The huge difference in power allowed Luo Feng to instantly pierce through the ice on the beast's body. Rumble, crack, crack, countless pieces of ice were pierced and shattered, Luo Feng's entire being entered the beast's body. The moment it entered the mirage beast's body. Change. Luo Feng's eyes flashed. Hua! His entire body instantly transformed into a black stream of air. At the same time, the black stream of air condensed and quickly turned into a simple and adorable bear made of ice. Its appearance was completely the same as the first beast Luo Feng killed, only its height was much lower, it was only an 8m tall bear-type beast. Copy. Natural ability. Copy. The aura completely became that of the bear-type beast he killed before. Actually, all of the beast's auras were similar, the only difference was how strong their auras were. Of course, the auras of humans and beasts were completely different. Although it seemed slow, in truth when Luo Feng rushed to the ice forest, he was met with hundreds of beasts rushing over. He immediately rushed towards one of them. A collision like Mars colliding with Earth. An intense explosion. Countless pieces of ice shot in all directions, the ground was littered with ice. Howl, an 8m tall ice bear-type beast with an aura of Universe level 3 walked out from the exploded ice, letting out a low roar. The other hundreds of beasts immediately slowed down and stopped, searching for their target, that human. However, they couldn't see him. Even simpler than a cat or dog, they didn't even think about why the human disappeared. These beasts only knew one thing. Since they couldn't find the human, they would return to their nest and continue living. Sector Lord Wu Qi had completely become a ball of burning flame, chasing with shocking speed towards his target. It must be him. Universe level 9, yet he was able to discover me early. Furthermore, his speed when escaping had reached such an unbelievable level. He must have some special secret techniques or some special treasures. And these are definitely not things the warriors in 9-Star Ocean can have. Sector Lord Wu Qi's eyes were burning. It must be the target the god wants to kill. Only a Universe level 9 that even the god wants to kill, yet doesn't dare to kill himself, would have such methods. Wu Qi naturally understood. Even their 1000-star sect's senior sect leader had to kneel and call him master. What kind of position was that? And such a being didn't dare to use other methods to kill a Universe level 9 youth. He could only go through them and use the rules of the Virtual Universe Company to kill that youth in Demon Mountain. Obviously, that youth's position was very high. His background was very special too. At least his background was terrifying. It wasn't something that the great being could mess with. Understanding was one thing. However, Wu Qi had no choice. If he disobeyed, they would die immediately. Hence he could only do his best to search, and killing people in Demon Mountain was against the rules of the Virtual Universe Company. He had never heard of killing people in Demon Mountain had to be punished. Rumble! Sector Lord Wu Qi immediately rushed out of the cave and into the ice forest. My God! Sector Lord Wu Qi stared. Ahead in the vast ice forest, hundreds of beasts were slowing down, the ice shards from the explosions were falling to the ground, that 8 m tall ice bear was still roaring. Hua! The hundreds of illusionary beasts, as well as the other quiet illusionary beasts in the ice forest, seemed to have sensed the powerful aura of the Sector Lord, and all turned their heads to look. Thousands of beasts, almost 99% of them all looked at the Sector Lord Wu Qi, who had rushed into the ice forest. Howl, the Sector Lord Level 9 Energy Lizard Beast immediately let out a sky-shaking roar. Rumble. It was the first to rush towards Sector Lord Wu Qi. Howl, howl, the other few Sector Lord level beasts under the Lizard Beast, as well as over 1,000 more, all roared as they followed their leader, madly charging towards the human fighter. And the tall human beast and the fierce flying beast, these two Sector Lord Level 9 peak beasts, only looked over but didn't chase. Within the entire ice forest, about a third of the beasts rushed towards Sector Lord Wu Qi. My God! Sector Lord Wu Qi's pupils constricted, his face pale. So many beasts? Rumble! He turned and became a fire beam, darting into the deep cave and swiftly escaping. As a 9-star ocean warrior, Wu Qi was very clear on how terrifying the beasts were. Even though they were dumb, they didn't have any weak point. Even if they were sliced in half, the beasts would still continue to attack. Hence, in the same level of humans and beasts, the beasts that didn't have any weak points were much more terrifying. Soul attacks were useless. Blades and swords slashed and pierced through their heads were all useless. Howl, the lizard beast was as fast as lightning, leading the chase. The 4 Sector Lord level beasts followed closely behind. Following was a large group of Domain Lord level beasts roaring as they chased. Howl, a cute ice bear type beast, followed the large army of over 1,000 universe level beasts, rumbling as they followed the cave, killing their way over. That ice bear's silver eyes scanned its surroundings. Still all right. They're really like me. These extremely simple-minded beasts have completely treated me as one of them. Hee, my body structure and energy, they're all standard beasts. Masha Luofeng became this ice bear, within the vast beast army. He muttered within as he followed the crowd and chased after Sector Lord Wu Qi. Of course, the main force of the chase was the Sector Lord Pinnacle Lizard Beast and the 4 Sector Lord Beasts. The army behind was purely following their leader. Sector Lord Wu Qi gave it his all, madly fleeing. His world energy spread over 10,000 kilometers, scanning for any pursuers behind. I'm too unlucky. I was just chasing a universe-level punk, and I actually chased all the way to the beast's nest. Thousands of beasts, with 3 Sector Lord Pinnacle 9 beasts. Any one of them could easily kill me. Sector Lord Wu Qi, at this time, couldn't care less about the order to kill. He only knew he had to protect his own life. So. The winding and winding tunnels, sometimes wide and sometimes narrow, Sector Lord Wu Qi was incredibly agile, constantly turning and accelerating. In comparison, the lizard phantom beast, whose body length alone reached 2 kilometers, was obviously more affected when it ran. Because the deep passageways were generally only a few kilometers wide, it was unable to burst out with the maximum speed it should have. Because of the tunnel before, Sector Lord Wu Qi couldn't catch up to Luofeng. And at this time, and because of the tunnel, Sector Lord Wu Qi had shaken off the lizard beast. I've shaken it off. It's already over 10,000 kilometers away from me. When the Realm Lord Wu Qi discovered that there were no lizard beasts within the 10,000 kilometer radius, he heaved a sigh of relief. However, he still continued to fly and run. In one breath, he ran to the end of the passageway, the intersection of the 817 caves. That Universe Level 9 was probably killed by the beast horde. Sector Lord Wu Qi looked at the octagonal cave behind him, frowning. According to the god's orders, I have to confirm that punk's identity to complete the mission. But the place where he died was in the ice forest. Chapter 573. To confirm Luo Feng's death, the most important thing was to see the remains of the cloud contact vine, and the red tag had a secondary effect. If I were to enter the ice forest and get surrounded by the beasts, I would definitely die. Much less him. However, I have to confirm his identity. Sector Lord Wu Qi stood at the intersection of the 817 caves, anxious and unbearable. What to do? He couldn't enter, nor could he leave. I'll enter the virtual universe network and find the others. Sector Lord Wu Qi sent out a thread of his consciousness and swiftly connected to the virtual universe network. Different from Blood River World, 9-Star Ocean was a place controlled by the Virtual Universe Company. There were many aboriginal sector lords and undyings who returned home after exploring the vast universe. This caused the 9-Star Ocean to have universe ships and virtual universe network consciousness sensors and other items. Virtual universe within an old and simple mansion. Bayan. Sector Lord Wu Qi sat in a chair, a screen floated before him. Very quickly, a black-horned man appeared on the screen. It was the strongest warrior of the 6 from the 1000-star sect, Sector Lord Level 9 Bayan. Wu Qi, you're looking for me? Bayan asked on the screen. I think I've found the target. Wu Qi's eyes seemed to be burning with a cold flame. Bayan revealed a look of glee. This mission was actually a hot potato. They were very clear that the target's background wasn't simple. However, they had no choice but to come. If Sector Lord Wu Qi could kill the target, Bayan would be incomparably happy. Are you sure? There's no way. Wu Qi shook his head. What's going on? Bayan was curious. It's like this. I discovered a Universe Level 9 youth earlier. Sector Lord Wu Qi began to describe from start to finish. Bayan was silent for a while. You're wrong, Bayan said. Wrong? How could I be wrong? I almost died. That Universe Level 9 would definitely die. And he was able to escape from me. He's definitely not from 9-Star Ocean. Sector Lord Wu Qi was extremely confident. Yes, he definitely can't be from 9-Star Ocean, Bayan said. However, Wu Qi, you've forgotten one thing. This Demon Mountain is frequently visited by powerful beings from the Virtual Universe Company. These beings are all Universe Level 9s, and they all have many tricks up their sleeves. The one you met was indeed extraordinary, but it might not be the target. It's very likely to be another noble existence. Wu Qi was stunned. Yes. Bayan was right, there was more than one Universe Level 9 that came to Demon Mountain to explore the universe. Then what should I do now? Wu Qi frowned. Should I stay here and wait for an opportunity, or should I continue searching? How about this, you guard the cave entrance for the time being. Bayan said immediately. After a period of time, sneak into the cave. When you approach the ice forest, you should not be discovered if you carefully retract your aura. Take a peek and see if there are any remains of the Clouscraper vine. I don't think those stupid beasts would destroy the cloud contact vine's remains. Wu Qi pondered for a moment and nodded. In the vast and deep tunnel, after the gigantic lizard beast discovered that its target, the human sector lord, had disappeared, it chased for hundreds of thousands of kilometers in one go, but it still couldn't catch up, so it stopped. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. After a while, the 4 sector lord level beasts behind swiftly slowed down, stopping behind the lizard beast. Howl, the lizard beast raised its head and roared, causing the entire tunnel to shake. Howl, the other 4 sector lord beasts raised their heads and roared too. After which the lizard beast turned around and returned, the 4 sector lord beasts followed behind. When they were chasing the human, they ran quickly, but when they returned, they just casually ran, their speed was only a third of before. What's going on? They're returning? A member of the vast army of phantom beasts, the 8-meter-tall cute ice bear looked around, only to see that the phantom beasts had stopped running. Rumbling sounds could be heard as they followed the leader, the lizard phantom beast, and began to return. Even though the lizard beast and the other 5 Sector Lord beasts were returning, the other over 1,000 beasts weren't exactly the same. Most of the beasts returned. There were a few that walked leisurely, even a dozen continued to follow the tunnel, heading towards the human Sector Lord's direction. Their thinking was extremely simple. Just like a bunch of chickens running around, most of them ran together. However, there were still a few that broke away from the main group. No wonder I met a single beast before. The ice bear Luo Feng walked leisurely, quietly observing the situation around. The beasts like to live in groups. However, occasionally there are still some that foolishly break away from the group. I wonder if that Sector Lord is dead or not. If he's dead, I'll be able to leave this tunnel. If he's not dead, he'll probably escape far away. I can still go to other places. The ice bear slowly walked with the other 10 beasts, heading towards the human Sector Lord's direction. At times the ice bear would run, at times strolling. The other dozen or so magical beasts would occasionally use their huge bodies made of ice to gently knock against the ice bear. During the journey with the 10 beasts, the ice bear Luo Feng ran for a while, shaking off the other beasts. Only then did he increase his speed towards the tunnel entrance. After a while, Luo Feng, I've detected a world energy ripple. It's from that Sector Lord from before. The running ice bear naturally began to slow down, intentionally using its body to knock into the ice walls beside. After advancing for a while, it turned and returned. There's a beast? The black-horned skinny man guarding the intersection of the 817 caves creased his eyebrows, after which he let out a sigh of relief. It's a Universe Level 3 beast. What a fool, using its body to knock into the ice. Foolish. He couldn't be bothered to kill a beast. And Wu Qi himself was too afraid of being chased, afraid that killing this beast would attract more beasts. It's returning. That's right, return to your nest. Sector Lord Wu Qi revealed a smile. The beast had already returned and left the area of his world energy. The ice bear slowly walked through the deep and serene cave passage. When it walked out of the range of the world's power, it suddenly stopped. Luo Feng, we've already left the area of the world energy. Who? The ice bear's eyes gleamed. I didn't expect that Sector Lord to still be here. The place we were at before was 10,003 kilometers from the intersection of Cave 817. According to the distance, that Sector Lord could very well be hiding at the intersection of Cave 817. Constantly scanning. Babata communicated mentally. That place is extremely safe. The moment he finds a powerful beast chasing him, he can immediately enter another tunnel. The beast probably wouldn't even be able to guess which tunnel he went to. However, he didn't leave. I can't help but suspect. Suspect what? Luo Feng asked. The terror of the beast horde, that Sector Lord, is very clear. If he stays at the intersection, even though it's safe, there's still a chance he'll be chased by the beast. The safest way is to leave far away from here. However, he didn't. In Demon Mountain, he didn't search for the tags, instead guarding the cave entrance. Plus the way he chased you before, I can't help but suspect his true target is you. Babata said. It's me? Luo Feng frowned, recalling the process. Indeed, this Sector Lord was constantly on guard at the entrance, not daring to relax at all. If it wasn't to kill Luo Feng, there was no need for him to stay at the entrance in fear. Why does he want to kill me? Luo Feng frowned. For the Aboriginals to join the Virtual Universe Company, one was to stay in Demon Mountain for a month, or to search for 1,000 black tags or 1 red tag. However, with a Sector Lord level SIXS strength, searching for 1,000 black tags or staying for a month was very easy. There was no need for him to stay at the entrance in fear. Even if he suspects that you are one of the majesties of the Virtual Universe Company, there's no need for him to kill you. Firstly, killing a certain majesty isn't beneficial to his future development in the Virtual Universe Company. Secondly, there's no need for him to do so. I guess, Someone wants you to die, or wants one of the other two majesties to die. Babata said. Wants me to die. Luo Feng's expression changed. According to the information, right now there were a total of 3 core members of the Virtual Universe Company in Demon Mountain, including himself. His target should be one of you 3 majesties. Babata was very certain, and it's hard to say if the other 2 entered Demon Note Mountain. Hence, the probability of the true target being you should be 50%. 50%. Who wants to kill me? I haven't offended anyone. Luo Feng frowned. Sometimes people you don't even know will want to kill you. Sometimes you don't even know who you've offended. Babata said, I've followed your teacher for over 60 million years, I've seen too much deceit. I'll advise you to be careful. Entering Demon Mountain this time isn't simple. Understood. The ice bear let out a low growl and began to return to the ice forest. As the walls of this ice tunnel were simply too thick, the surface layer of ice might be able to crack and shatter. However, the later layers were a few km thick and there was no way around it. Even the Sector Lord warriors just ran for their lives, not crashing into the rock layers. This meant one thing. This majestic Demon Mountain's black rock was actually extremely tough. After a while, the ice bear slowly returned to the ice forest. Within the vast ice forest, many beasts were quietly living. The ice bear Luo Feng's arrival didn't even draw the attention of the other beast. Howl, a 600m long domain Lord level 9 flying beast laid on the ice layer, casually flapping its ice wings. That ice wing immediately caused the ice bear to tumble and roll a few rounds. Only after that did the ice bear awkwardly climb back up. In this illusory beast lair, the ice bear shuttled back and forth between many illusory beasts, advancing unceasingly. Since there's no way to leave from that tunnel, I can only see what's on the other end of the ice forest. Luo Feng thought. The ice bear slowly advanced, occasionally letting out a low growl. Update complete. The closer it was to the wedding, the more troublesome the wedding preparations were. However, the update before the wedding would definitely be maintained. Of course, there was no way around the wedding, because the wedding would be held in 3 places: my home, my daughter's house, and my wife's workplace. How complicated! There were many book friends here. Those who were interested could all go and play. Finally, get some votes, monthly votes, recommendation votes. Actually, he really wanted the tomatoes.